round of tariffs on Chinese goods, but is getting some pushback from Congress. Fox's John Decker joins us live from the White House.
In an overwhelmingly bipartisan 88-11 vote, the Senate backed a largely symbolic resolution calling for Congress to have a role when the president imposes tariffs in the name of national security. The resolution comes a day after President Trump escalated his ongoing trade war with China by announcing that he would impose additional tariffs of 10% on $200 billion worth of Chinese exports. China called the latest U.S. tariffs unacceptable and has promised to retaliate with tariffs of their own. Rich?
John, those tariff talks are hitting Wall Street hard today. Increasing concerns over a possible trade war sent stock indexes sharply lower. The Dow's down 219. Fox News. Fair and balanced.
Hi, this is Kathy, and I'm back in Guam ready to set off the fireworks with our 4th of July sale at Furniture Kathy Style. It's packed with fabulous furniture and prices that will blow your mind. Get 15 to 25% off store-wide or 12 months interest-free with approved credit. Our beautiful lamps are buy one, get one 50% off. Save big on hot deals like our 4-piece Ashley Slade bedroom set, starting at just $4.99. Stop by and see us at Furniture Kathy Style in Hagåtña.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest steak and cheese, turkey, bacon, and guac, rotisserie-style chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience. But I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway, make it what you want.
For more information.
Flyers feeling abused by the TSA will have a harder time making their case.
Screeners for the Transportation Security Administration winning immunity from flyer abuse claims after a decision by an appeals court which ruled screeners are not considered to be investigative or law enforcement officers and have immunity under a federal law governing assaults, false arrests, and other abuses. This coming after a lawsuit from a Florida woman who, along with her husband, sued for false arrest, false imprisonment, and malicious prosecution after a Philadelphia airport incident in 2006. The decision, the first on the issue by a federal appeals court. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
8 former supervisors and safety officers at a Kentucky coal company have been indicted on federal charges that they rigged dust monitoring in underground mines, forcing miners to work in the kind of dirty conditions that can lead to black lung disease. The 8 charged today for conspiracy to defraud the government. They work for the now bankrupt Armstrong Coal in western Kentucky. Americans are quitting their jobs at the highest rate seen in nearly 2 decades.
The Labor Department says the share of workers quitting their jobs in May reached 2.4%. That's the most the U.S. has seen since April of 2001. More people quitting is generally a sign of a strong jobs market, with people feeling confident enough that they'll find another line of work, maybe for more money. Government stats show that workers who switch jobs do tend to see larger raises than those who stay in one place. In Washington, Joel Nato, Fox News.
Scientists in Damascus have begun reconstructing ancient sculptures from the city of Palmyra that were damaged by ISIS during Syria's civil war. The Russian Defense Ministry saying a group of 8 experts has started work on the statues and sculptures. The ancient city is home to one of the Middle East's most spectacular archaeological sites. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News Radio.
Apply today for First Hawaiian Bank's United Mileage Plus credit card. And upon approval, you will be entered to win 2 round-trip business class tickets on United. You'll also earn up to 30,000 bonus miles, 5,000 upon opening your new account, and 25,000 after spending $1,500 within 3 months. And you'll get 2 times the mileage on United ticket purchases. Apply by August 31, 2018. Stop by any branch or visit us online at FHB.com. Terms and conditions apply. Sweepstakes starts on July 1, 2018 and ends on August 31, 2018. Open to legal residents of Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands aged 18 years or older. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Visit www.fhb.com/United Sweepstakes for official rules and complete details. Member FDIC.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter, so all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Say hello to high-speed data on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. We've just upped your prepaid data, so make your big plans bigger with 1 gigabyte of data per day. Bigger prepaid data for your big plans that just keep getting better. Enjoy high-speed data and unlimited local talk and text on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. Text LTE to 3282, select a plan, and enjoy 1 gigabyte of data per day. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
From September 17 to September 19, 2018, the Archdiocese of Agana will be conducting settlement conferences with victims of clergy abuse. If you have a claim and want to meaningfully participate in the September settlement conferences, call Hope and Healing Guam at 1-888-649-5288 before August 1st, 2018. All conversations with Hope and Healing Guam are confidential. If you have filed a lawsuit against the Archdiocese, you are already included in this settlement process.
Hafa Adai and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Thursday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. 2 men died yesterday after the vehicles they were driving crashed head-on in Sinahanya yesterday morning. It happened about 11:30 a.m. on Route 4 just south of the Chout Bridge. 52-year-old Joe Blas worked for GTA, and he was driving a company van. 78-year-old Edward Eclavia was in his silver Hyundai Santa Fe. Both first responders performed CPR on each man at the scene and en route to Naval Hospital, where they were pronounced dead. The roadway was closed and traffic diverted for nearly 4 hours while police investigated the cause of the crash. Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio sat down separately with members of the island's media yesterday and apologized repeatedly for his conduct during Saturday's Pleasure Island barbecue block party in Tumon. Tenorio has admitted that he approached a uniformed on-duty Guam police officer from behind and lifted the service revolver out of the officer's holster after noticing that it did not appear to have been securely fastened. When he first acknowledged that on Monday to the Guam Daily Post, he called it a teaching moment for the officer, saying he had acted in the interest of public safety. Yesterday, however, following a storm of criticism, Tenorio said the teaching moment had been his own. He said, "I take full responsibility for my actions, and they were regrettable." He apologized to the police officer whose service revolver he grabbed. He apologized to the men and women and law enforcement and the chief of police and to Governor Eddie Calvo and the people of Guam. Whether that's enough to avoid criminal charges is now up to the Attorney General. The case has been assigned to the Criminal Division of the AG's office, and a statement from the Attorney General yesterday says it will be thoroughly and independently investigated. Tenorio told the Post yesterday that he is not above the law, but he does not believe that he committed any crime. We'll have more news after this.
Sometimes a penny saved can lead to much more than a penny earned. With GPA Energy Sense rebate program, the power is yours. Earn money back while saving on your monthly power bill. GPA Energy Sense rebate program will help lower your initial costs when purchasing approved GPA energy efficient appliances and upgrades with monthly savings you can expect. For more Energy Sense saving ideas, visit GuamPowerAuthority.com or like us on Facebook. GPA, bringing energy solutions to you.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back.
Chili's Rib Fest is back. You can get saucy with their fall-off-the-bone, slow-smoked half-rack of ribs for $10.99. Available in original, roasted garlic, or honey chipotle flavors. Served with home-style fries. Add an additional half-rack of ribs for just $7. Low and slow is the key to more flavor. Chili's Rib Fest for $10.99. Available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
11 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. The Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has vacated an 18-month prison sentence imposed on a South Korean tourist who became combative and belligerent on a Korean Airlines flight to Guam in April of 2016. The appeals court sent the case back for resentencing a third time, but they want a different judge to decide on the sentence this time. 44-year-old dentist Kwon Woo-sung has been detained on Guam for more than 2 years while appealing his sentence. He was arrested after a drunken tirade and pleaded guilty to one count of interference with the flight crew. In his second appeal, the Ninth Circuit Court found that the District Court of Guam again committed procedural error. The appellate panel found that Guam District Court Chief Judge Francis Tadinko Gatewood erred by failing to consider the need to avoid unwarranted sentencing disparities among defendants with similar records who have been found guilty of similar conduct. Judge Tadinko Gatewood has said that she would not consider that factor because she'd never sentenced a defendant for a similar case before. However, the Ninth Circuit Court found that the district court's explanation for the 18-month sentence was inadequate and determined that a third sentencing hearing would be needed before a different judge. There are two conflicting reports on the state of the Guam Memorial Hospital's electrical panel and what kind of repairs need to be made on it. The electrical panel is a critical piece of equipment. GMH managers have warned that its failure could force an evacuation of patients and staff at the hospital. Yesterday, the Guam Power Authority released its assessment of the electrical panel, saying it would take only $1,700 to repair some loose connections and wipe it down for dust. GPA's report concludes that the main electrical panel does not appear to be in danger of immediate failure. The inspection revealed no visible signs of deterioration. However, a separate report prepared by EMCE consulting engineers for GMH, also released yesterday, describes the hospital's electrical system as being on the verge of a major disaster. Given the current conditions of GMH's electrical system, they have been lucky that no major disasters have occurred, but danger is imminent, according to that assessment signed by EMCE Senior Principal Vic Regis Jr. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Right now with the weather.
So you got one set of guys that says, you know what, maybe just some Armor All and some Windex and we'll take care of this problem. No kidding. $1,700. You get the other guys that say, danger, danger, Will Robinson. Imminent, $6 million.
So who are you going to believe, the Public Power Authority or the private businessman?
And this is why facts, ladies and gentlemen, are so hard to gather from time to time. All right, so 6:13 in the morning. Let's talk about the weather. That's what everybody's talking about, seems to be talking about on the Facebook Live this morning. Shelley says, can't see out the living room windows right now. Barragata Heights is in the low-hanging cloud. Gerard Afflegui is in town, wondering why it's raining cats and dogs while he's on vacation. Now, let me give you the forecast for right now, and then we'll talk about the whys in a second with Michael Knight. Mostly cloudy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. There's southeast winds up to about 20 miles an hour, decreasing a bit after sunset tonight. Daytime highs should be about 86 degrees and overnight lows 78 degrees. And now with details on why it's raining cats and dogs on Gerard Afflegui's vacation, here's Michael Knight.
Rather than get into a long conversation about condensation, dew points, and that sort of thing, I'll just say there are clouds.
That's it.
That's all I got, man. All I got.
There are clouds. Where are they coming from?
We've actually got a trough to our southwest. It slid south of us, 92W, which is what we were talking a little bit about yesterday. Now we're on the backside of it. You can see on the radar picture here getting a strong southeasterly flow, bringing in some of those showers and even some scattered thunderstorms. Pretty heavy rain rolling through right now.
Yeah.
So that's going to continue through much of the morning. Looks like we'll get a little bit of a clearing out, but there's the more moisture and energy is going to be brought up by this trough to our southwest as it continues to pull away. On the bigger picture, you're looking out there, you're just seeing a whole lot of blobbage and a whole lot of mess. There's another weak disturbance, that blobbage out to the left of the picture there. That's 94W. There is another one way up by China, and what's happening is what's called the Madden-Julian oscillation.
You just made that up. You're like Ron McNitch. You just make up words whenever you run out of things to say. You just start making stuff up.
Google it.
It's a thing.
It is a thing.
Okay, how do we spell it?
Yeah, Madden, Madden, like John Madden, Madden-Julian, Julian, oscillation. Don't ask me to spell that one, please. It's too early.
All right, I got it.
But anyway, this is what they call a Kelvin wave, and it moves the opposite direction around the Earth. It's picking up, and so when it does, what happens is it raises the level of moisture in the region, and that gives more fuel for any sort of disturbance, any convergence, any sort of anything to grab onto and start developing from. That's why when you see these periods of time, which you see here, where you have 3, 4, 5 storms pop up like within a week or two of each other,
which we have,
that's when it happens, is when the Madden-Julian oscillation has peaked in our region.
And
so that's coming.
That makes it Kelvin wavy.
Kelvin wavy, yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
I like Kelvin. He's a good guy.
It's 6:16 in the morning, and News and Weather Together brought to you by our friends over at Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots, and while the commercial's playing, I'm going to be Googling the Madden-Julian oscillation. Go.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Portions of the program brought to you by APL. That's American President Lines. APL is shipping the future.
Circle K has just made it easier to select products that are better for you and your healthier lifestyle. When looking for items that are low carb, low sodium, low calories, low sugar, high in antioxidants, or high in protein, just look for the easy-to-spot better for you labels so you can find these items at a glance. Come by and see for yourself. It has never been more convenient to fill up on anything and everything that are better for you. Circle K. Take it easy.
Portions of the program also brought to you by Security Title. When you absolutely positively need some confidentiality in your real estate transactions, Ron and Kim and the staff can keep a secret. Don't have to worry about any Madden-Julian oscillations there. Yeah, call them Security Title.
Always here to help you. This island is our home. Through the years we've been a friend to the neighbors we have known. Now we're banking on the future. More services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
It's not that I don't believe you. It's not. You know, you're an educated guy, and I know that this is like, you know, if you weren't doing the radio show producing on a regular basis, then you'd probably be. It might not be getting paid for it, but you'd be like one of those guys who just kind of hangs out at the National Weather Service, right?
That would be cool. I'd like to do that. That
Hey,
would be nice.
what are you guys working on today?
Yeah.
What are we having any Madden-Julian oscillations?
Yeah, I'm that guy that after a while they'll see me coming up the sidewalk and start locking doors, shutting blinds, be like, not this
God,
guy
here
again,
comes
please.
Mike again. Here he comes. It's just like one of those Madden-Julian oscillation. It sounds like something Rick Moranis was mumbling about during the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah, something. Yeah, or
it's the Madden-Julian oscillation. I can tell you many Kelvin waves were slayed that day.
Nice. Nice.
You
Hey,
like
by
the
the way,
reference? That was nice, huh?
National Weather Service has issued a thunderstorm advisory for Guam International Airport until 10.
I was about to do that. I was about to tell everybody that. I don't need the National Weather Service.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Facebook Live, and everybody's talking about how lousy the weather is. All right. The Madden-Julian oscillation is the largest element of the interseasonal variability in the tropical atmosphere. It was discovered, and it's fairly a new thing, considering how long we've been watching weather. It was discovered in 1971 by Roland Madden and Paul Julian of the American Center for Atmospheric Research. It is a large-scale coupling between atmospheric circulation and tropical deep convection. And then it goes on to talk about how it's unlike a standing pattern like the El Nino Southern Oscillation, but then, it becomes the typical Wikipedia article, and I just get bored.
Right. Basically,
It's not enough pictures.
Yeah, You know, normally we see the surface systems in the grand scheme of the regular weather, you know, they go from east to west.
Correct.
The oscillation, conversely, goes from west to east, and it's much more subtle. So it just keeps circulating around the globe, and when it pops up, whatever area it's in.
So we could use, and subtle is a good thing. We should have more subtle today. Can I point out a couple of things? And you know, in the headlines here, we've got the Ray Tenorio apology tour that took place yesterday. It's actually a tour of the journalists that were rolling around there. And as the story is told here, he didn't want to do an en masse thing.
Well, you know,
how did that work out?
When the Post reported this first on Monday, we published it Tuesday morning. The other media requested their individual interviews.
Okay.
And so the governor's office decided, Lieutenant Governor's office, that they would take each media individually. So we all went in one at a time for about 10, 15 minutes and asked our questions, and that was that.
Now, they're all virtually identical, aren't they? I mean, that's the sense that I get, and not too far off from the original conversation that we played a couple of times on from the weekend Monday.
More detailed because, you know, the storm broke, and there was a lot of criticism, and so there were a lot more questions to be answered, and there were police reports that were filed, and now it's in the hands of the Attorney General.
Of the Attorney General. We'll talk about that in a second. I'll express my deep disappointment with the no, I can't say that word on something block that the Attorney General's office has already done. Even though that there's probably a lot of other questions still lingering around on this. As I said, basically the apology tour, and I'm sorry, mea culpa, ma'asi, and. But at the end of it, he says, I didn't break any laws. And it's interesting because I know that there's a number of people that disagree with that and sent me chapter and verse, Guam Code annotated, and I've read some of that to you yesterday. And I suppose we'll have to leave that in the hands of somebody over at the Attorney General's office, and that would be among the questions that I'd like to have answered at some point. Anyway, 6:22. Now I was talking about we need subtle. We need subtle because I tell you, you go to social media here, and you and I spend a lot of time in the social media. This Facebook Live. That, my friends, is social media. And the memes have been absolutely merciless. They have been absolutely merciless and very direct. Very direct. And the other interesting thing is starting to see other people getting involved in this. I've seen a couple of memes with other members of our political community that have been wrangled in for humorous purposes. I'll see if I can get some of these the more subtle memes or the funnier memes and stick those up on the video portion of the Facebook Live and our Point.gu broadcast. Speaking of Point.gu, we did post a question yesterday about whether you believe that this is pulling the curtains on Ray and Antonio's run for Adelup. Does Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio still have a shot at Adelup? And the preponderance of votes now favor this answer. Sure, the gun grab is a nothing burger. 73% of the people that have gone to the website from Adelup say, sure, the gun grab is a nothing burger, and 26.8% say, no chance now. That's it. It's over.
I sense that there are quite a few people being paid at least minimum wage to
clicking?
hit every
You think there
single
might be a lot of
poll.
clicks?
And yeah.
It could be. You know what? What I have access to on this particular piece of software that handles the voting is that I can see the IPs where they're coming from. Right. So as an example, I can see the ones that came from inside our office yesterday, right? But I can see those because I know what our IP address, I know what our public, world-facing IP address is. I cannot say that about everything else, but I know guys that have the skills. So just as a matter of curiosity, I think I'm going to take a data dump of the responses on the polls and send them out to a buddy of mine that has got those forensic skills and see if we can find out. I'll bet they can do it because Troy said, right? Didn't Troy say that he was able to take apart that fake email that was going around between Eddie and Dennis Rodriguez?
Oh yeah, it's all in the source code. That's easy.
He said, no problem. He should be able to find, and said that it actually came from Oya's desk, her computer at her desk at Adelup. Wow. So I mean,
which she has denied and asked for an independent investigation of. So.
Well, I know.
No confirmation on that.
I thought it was kind of odd that he'd be able to nail it down right to the actual. Here's the public-facing IP address, and then here is the internal IP address on that router. I thought that was an interesting trick. I don't know that it's something that everybody can do, but you and I know a couple of guys that might be able to sort all of that stuff. Anyways, I'll let you know because it'll be interesting to me to see where some of these votes are coming from. Just because it's 6:26 in the morning. Other items on the table of contents, and this can break away from the local drama here for just a second. And I'm delighted to report today, and it happened just as things were closing up on the program yesterday. They got all the kids out of the cave. That it doesn't happen that often. That there is and there they are now. It doesn't happen all that often that there is that kind of a drama where virtually everybody around the planet has an opportunity, should take the opportunity to stop what they're doing and watch this drama unfold. Life and death.
You remember the same thing happened when the little girl got stuck in a well. It was in England or whatever. That was back in, the 90s?
Oh, yeah,
or late 80s or something?
Baby Jessica, I think, is what it was, who fell down the well, and the steps that they had to take and the Herculean measures that they took to make sure that her life was saved, and no less than the Herculean measures that were taken to ensure that these 12 young boys and their coach were rescued from this cave. And what an incredible drama it was. And as I said, I'm delighted to report that all of them are out of the cave, and a nod and a prayer to the one member of the rescue team that lost his life as a result of not having enough O2 in the process. And that, I think, adds a little bit to the drama. And you're wondering, when is the documentary? When are we going to be able to catch this somewhere and watch it? Discovery orders the documentary on the soccer team rescue. Discovery is in the television network, has ordered a 1-hour documentary special on the daring rescue of a boys' soccer team from a flooded cave in Thailand. Operation Thai Cave Rescue will debut Friday. It'll debut on Friday on the Discovery Channel and air Saturday on the Science Channel. So for those of you that are still watching television that way, then that's something that you can look forward to. I'll see if I can find out how we'll be, those of us that are more Hulu and Netflix and YouTube in nature, will be able to watch this on the cord-cutted world. Yeah?
Yeah, it only took a couple of years for ABC to spit out one on Baby Jessica. So they got theirs out in '89. The event happened in '87.
Yeah,
and by the way, it wasn't England; it was Midland, Texas. You think I would know?
The
80s are a little fuzzy for me, man.
Yeah, I know. It's there's the whole swatches of the 1980s that are just nothing.
I think there was another one in England because I have a vague memory of that.
Yeah,
as well,
I just don't remember her name.
We'll dig it out. Somebody 888-8255 if you've got displays on all of that and want to participate in it. But as I said, the important thing here is that there was this worldwide drama and it all worked. There's a couple of people that I want to reach out to this morning, and one of them is chiming back in because I was asking for his phone number, Adonis Mendiola, and it'd be fun to talk to Adonis Mendiola about the differences between an escape and two of these girls walking out of the Department of Youth Affairs. But frankly, that's not why. We were a buddy of mine and I were talking about some diets, and Adonis is apparently the go-to guy these days on the keto, or am I saying that right? Keto, or is it keto? Or the keto?
Beats me.
I'm not entirely sure.
You're talking about the diet?
Yeah.
Yeah, Danielle says it's keto.
Is it keto?
She's doing it.
Yeah. And she's dropping pounds all over the place now.
As if she actually needed to.
Well, so I'm between 167 today, right, and my target is 160. That's what I'm shooting for running purposes, mind you. Right. And so I'm trying to figure out how I might be able to eliminate those last 7 or 8 pounds. And somebody said, talk to Adonis about it. Maybe Adonis might be able to help you out. I've got a good regimen I've got a good diet in place right now.
Right.
if we're talking about Mountain Dew and low-fat potato chips.
I can tell you how to drop the 7, but you're not going to like it.
I know, because it involves not drinking beer.
Yes.
That's the suck. It's 6:30 in the morning. Headlines from the Guam Daily Post. And just a note, it's Eklavea, the gentleman that passed away. His last name is pronounced Eklavea. Now, from the Guam Daily Post, here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Hafaday and good morning, Guam. News time here at the point is 30 minutes past 6 a.m. And the headlines from the Daily Post this morning. Speaker Benjamin Cruz wrote to Attorney General Elizabeth Barrett Anderson and Department of Rev and Tax Director John Camacho yesterday, asking them not to proceed with any attempt to absolve MidPAC of any unpaid taxes and penalties. In his letter, the Speaker urged Anderson to advise Rev and Tax that no settlement, waivers, or absolutions should be approved without the AG's prior review. A tax lien totaling $14.7 million was assessed against MidPAC in June of last year. MidPAC is owned and managed by certain relatives of Governor Calvo. MidPAC President John Calvo has told the Guam Daily Post that MidPAC is meeting all of its tax obligations to the government of Guam. Speaker Cruz, however, wrote that he has substantial reason to believe that forces within Rev and Tax are actively processing settlement documents which will completely absolve MidPAC's tax liability to the people of Guam. The Department of Public Health and Social Services facing cuts to its budget that will leave it unable to provide essential services, according to the latest in a series of releases from the governor's office cataloging the consequences of the sales tax repeal. Public Health's initial budget of $59.1 million for the next fiscal year has now been cut to $43.5 million. Public Health Acting Director Leo Casil says that means Medicaid funding may only last up to 3 or 4 months next year. Home-delivered meals or on weekends for the elderly will be discontinued, he said. Adult daycare services will be scaled back, along with reduced transportation services for the elderly. Since the Trump tax cuts took effect at the start of the year, all Government of Guam agencies have been asked to reduce their budgets by 10%. Additional reductions have now been ordered in the face of what Speaker Benjamin Cruz says is a $145 million shortfall in the new fiscal year that begins October 1st. 2 girls who ran away from the Department of Youth Affairs cottage home on July 6th have been captured. The teenagers, both 16, were found on Tuesday in Jigo, according to a release from DYA. Both minors were safely apprehended by DYA officers, according to the release. The runaways were last seen fleeing towards the Manilao baseball field. DYA Director Peter Atta said that the runaway teenagers were preparing their personal belongings at the cottage home to go into the main DYA facility for dinner. When the teens were called and didn't respond, DYA personnel found that they had escaped. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I think I will. It's 6:33 in the morning. That's iConnect time. Connect longer for less with the incredible push-to-talk and mobile plans available from iConnect.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegli of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
6:34 in the morning, and traffic already building virtually island-wide. Anything north and southbound between Dededo and, say, Kmart is probably going to be experiencing a little bit more traffic, and it's probably going to be moving a little bit slower as a result of the wetness on the roadways. Not sure exactly what's going on between the ITC building and 3 Squares, but there might be a couple of pockets of slower-moving traffic through there. Into and out of the downtown Agutnia area in front of the Paseo, you might see a little bit of a buildup of traffic. Looking for the places where it's really slowing down, and I don't see anything right now except coming out of Anderson Air Force Base. We got a line of traffic that is moving in there, obviously, but it seems to be moving on schedule. Coming out from Route 9 onto Marine Corps Drive up there might be a little bit slower than normal. It's 6:34. Drive carefully. Roads are wet all over the place, and that's what traffic is looking at right now on The Point.
More than 40 local companies have partnered with Take Care to bring you some of the best deals across the island through the Take Care Affinity Rewards program. From Spa Bali, Guam Reef and Gabriel's Restaurant to Tango Theaters, Dolce Frutti, and many more. Take Care members can simply present their membership cards at our partner locations to receive a special offer or discount. For a complete listing of Take Care's affinity partners and deals, visit TakeCareAsia.com or check out our Take Care app for all the latest updates.
The Coconut Wireless is back. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
$888-8255. That number again is 888-8255-TALK. If it makes it easier to remember how to get a hold of me. And there's a lot of ways to get a hold of me. And the program, RayGibsonShow@gmail.com is one of them. And what's the other one? Is you can WhatsApp me at will if you've got the WhatsApp number. And then we can talk about all kinds of stuff. And the cool thing about WhatsApp is you can send video and audio and funny memes. And the funniest memes that are out these days, unfortunately for Ray Tenorio, are the Ray Tenorio gun memes that have popped up all over the place. And there's some really crafty ones. There's one that I can't play on the radio or television because of some certain language restrictions that the FCC has placed on us. But
that's why I have this.
It's it's the Mad Libs one. There's a couple of Mad Libs one. There's one that is clean, and then there's one that I can't use because it drops the F-bomb. So I'm not gonna. I'm even hesitant to share that on my Facebook page because I got to see Ray Tenorio one of these days, and I would hope that he'd still hug me around the neck like he did before. It's 6:37 in the morning. 888-8255, and as I said, we didn't do the cheers thing yet. That's the other thing. We got to do the cheers.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name.
And it's nice to see the familiar names like Ruben Mortera and Lynn Vince, Borja Polino, Paris Mendiola's there, Denise Legaspi. Good morning, Lady D. Shelley's up. Marvic Pareja from the stateside mainland is watching the Facebook Live this morning, as is Donna Blas Cartwright, who I think is going to identify her location in a second. Juanita Macchia, always one of the first to get on. Chad Anderson and Tony D'Angelo. I see Richard Yu there. Sahara Defensor out. I want to say in Boston, but I'm not sure. She might be doing some traveling these days. Frank Tejito and Joe Knoll, good to see you, buddy. Kate Baltazar, Eunice Mendiola, Hoffa Mike McCarthy, Charlene Marchessault, Annalita Basto. Hello, pretty. Ken Leon Guerrero. Hello, pretty. There's Doris Mendiola and Karen Gale, Crystal Schnabel. Off a day to you. Greg Karabrock. I see Missy Torres and Margaret Agoto. Hey, sweetie. Love you, miss you. Janet Gigi Cruz, Melina Montanoia, who, when I was growing up with her brother, was the adult supervision, even though she was younger than us.
Now you've lost all of your credibility with Pretty Ashley. You realize that, right?
Well, she's right there. She's right there. Yeah. I see Andre Bainham and Elma Turbio, Beck Salazar, Trisha Cruz, hey, TC, Lynn Perez, Adonis Mendiola, and we'll talk with him literally in just a second. And, yeah, Pretty Ashley's in there. Hi, Mika. Frank Gutierrez, and morning from the East Coast is where Donna Blas Cartwright is. Renzo Osborne, John Zillion. Hey, Johnny Z. Catherine Norton, Frankie Gutierrez, Albert Elias, says, hey, Ray, and Bob Lizama is on. As I mentioned, Adonis Mendiola is there, and I cannot tell you the number of times in my life, as I've known Adonis for years, and the number of times in my life that Adonis has somehow or another come to my rescue. There was we were trying to get ready for one of these like 80s gigs, and somebody said, hey, Ray, you ought to be able to get an old members only jacket because I had a reputation for wearing a leather members only jacket back in the day. Well, he did not get me a leather members only jacket, but he found a members only jacket and dropped it off at the radio station and only charged me, what was that, $20, $40, something like that?
That's right, brother. It was a really good deal.
But the point that I want to make before you and the audience is, even though I didn't vote for you in the last election, you've always been there for me.
Well, I appreciate your honesty, brother. And,
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
I know you are. I know you are. You know what, Shelly? You get him, okay? Shelly, I know you're listening. Get that boy.
Who's Shelly? What's the matter?
You're Shelly.
Oh,
Our Shelly.
yeah. Okay. What do you want Shelly to do?
Get you fancy lick your ear.
What did I do? Oh, for Cassieing you. Okay, so here's the thing though, and this is important because I noticed that there are a lot more people that seem to be gravitating toward a diet, and somebody told me last night that you were kind of the go-to guy for this keto diet, and I thought, all right, well, maybe I'll talk with him, and I know that it's worked for you because I've seen you've got to have lost about 25, 30 pounds between running and this diet.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is actually more than a diet. That's the cool part about it. It's actually rooted in something very ancient, in fasting. And again, that's another thing that people are starting to gravitate to: intermittent fasting, the power of fasting. We're not talking about starving now, Ray.
Right. No. Well, so let me, because it's always about me, right? So I generally don't eat breakfast, and unless a client needs a lunch, or I need to be the client and take him to lunch, I generally don't eat a lunch as well. I'm almost, I've for the most part sworn off rice in its regular form, although I will take rice in my beer. And tried to back off on carbs as much as I possibly can. So I go through these long periods where I don't eat, and then I don't want to call it binging because I'm still watching my portions at dinner. How close is that to what you're referring to as your fasting?
Still far from it, brother. Because I mean, the sad truth is that most of us are switch over to become carb burners from the tender age mommy or daddy affords baby formula, and then we start to just burn on carbs or burn using carbs. And I know as runners, right, that's kind of the mantra.
There's
and
the fuel,
you'd be
though.
surprised, right? Yeah. You know that ultra marathoners are actually more fat adapted. The ones that hold the records become fat adapted, and a lot of people don't look at fat as anything but evil, but it's actually fuel, man. It's fuel. It's actually the premium fuel, and your body turns that fat into ketones or ketone bodies. And you could do it dietarily, brother, but it's difficult because and I know it's woven into the fabric of everything and anything sold almost, right? But the truth is that it is pretty phenomenal when you have actual pure therapeutic ketones in you. And that technology, believe it or not, in a drink, getting into ketosis in under an hour in a drink is actually only new to the modern public as of maybe 3 years ago or so. And
I'm confused here. So back up just a little bit. So we'll start with a little bit of a lifestyle thing with the fasting. So how do I get ketones in my system now?
Well, you could do it the long, harder road, which is dietarily, and nothing wrong with that. That's great. People try it. They kind of mess it up along the way. You're trying it, except it's kind of difficult because it only takes as little as 20 grams of carbs to kick you out of what takes you weeks, if not months, of getting into ketosis.
Wow.
Now, some people can do it. Yeah, some people can do it sooner, bro. Like yourself. I mean, I would like to think you're a little bit more accomplished athlete than most, right? But we're talking about a simple housewife. No, they're not simple. They work hard. An office worker who's sedentary or somebody who just isn't a high performer. They can't go into ketosis as quick as somebody who has been doing it probably for, like I said, weeks or months and is athletic. But you can do it with new technology that's available, and make it easier to, if you will, resist those cravings for those carbs.
Right.
And sugar.
So now the new technology you're talking about, are there things that I can buy? Are there like ketone-based snacks that I can buy? I was talking about Lay's low-fat potato chips. That's kind of a staple in my diet here. Is there a ketone alternative to that?
Yes, there's actually a drink that I've been promoting for going on 3 years now, and it's it's about as much as a Happy Meal makes you happier, brother.
So it's something that you can get into drink, and then the ketone. You know, Brad's online. Brad says even if you're a distance athlete, ketones are a better energy source than sugar. So if I was going to be training for a marathon or something like that, in addition to the dietary benefits of losing the weight to get into into marathon shape, then if I can get more ketones into my system, so instead of carbo loading the couple of days before, I would mass up my ketones and use that for the energy to take me through to 26.2.
Absolutely, bro. Forget the gels, forget all that stuff. You become fat adapted and get into ketosis faster. You'll be like some of the Chris's, if you will, some of the families that and athletes that have been using it for like UGM recently.
Sure.
And for some of the intramural sports. I've got athletes using this. We've actually got MMA fighters and different ones stateside as well using this, and cyclists even. And you'd be surprised, more people in the triathlete community understand fat adaptation. I'm screwing that up there, and how ketones is that superior support to your body, absent of carbs. So if you think about it, the coolest thing about and how natural ketones are is that at 5 months in our mother's womb, we are producing ketones from our liver. That's why this technology is pretty awesome. It's something so innate, so natural.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that flu you got last time, and God forbid you get a flu, brother. But your body knows how to survive on the fat it has in it.
Well, and I'm not as fat dense right now, but I'd like to get that down. Now, what about bodybuilders? How's that work for guys that are trying to build up muscle and create some bulk and at the same time get some resolution and abs and things like that? I mean, are these guys able to use it?
Oh yeah, it's so fat sparing. In fact, the benefits that we can speak of, right? Are fat loss, muscle preservation, fast and sustaining.
So muscle preservation, very important for guys our age.
Absolutely. Strength gains. I've got some guys in the gym using this. Better mood, better sleep. Come on, Ray. Better digestion, okay? Appetite suppression, and clear skin. Because,
Clear. Okay, so I remember a few years ago they came out, and I forget what the name of the diet was, but it was another one of these low carb things, and it promoted ketones, although probably not to the same degree as what you're talking about. And one of the side effects, one of the unpleasant side effects, unfortunately, was most of the people that were on this diet I couldn't talk to because it gave them stinky breath. They were mouton to talk to.
Well, you look like a Mentos guy sometimes here and there.
A Mentos guy. So it will happen. You will you will find that there's going to be a certain aroma now.
It works out, brother. It works out. In fact, I know somebody just the other day who said they noticed that their BO almost disappeared. And so
it went to their mouth.
Nah, bro.
It went from the feather to the mouth.
Brother, just take care of them. Take those things before they become dentures, huh?
Right. So people are, and it's amazing because I got people that are just chiming in right now. So simple, fits into any lifestyle. Jerry Santos is saying that. Paris says that she's been working with you and absolutely loves it. Georgia says, nursing mom here, and I've been using ketosis for 7 weeks now with Adonis, and it works. Are you doing any clinics? Are you doing any get-togethers, something formal?
Yeah, we do. Anybody goes to my Facebook knows I don't hide anything. I put it out there if anybody wants to come on out, free to try and sample, and no obligation to buy either. Just hear how people are healing and feeling better. Again, it's not a weight loss product. That's the beauty of it. It's brain fuel. Again, babies make it, and if you were in a coma, okay, or if you're lost at sea, your body's going to do it, and it's to preserve the brain function, and it's got a lot of awesome benefits. All anybody has to do is Google ketones, right? The ketone body, and anything from Alzheimer's to traumatic brain injury to inflammation. See, I'm not even talking about weight loss because it wasn't designed for that. It was actually designed for use in U.S. Navy SEALs and astronauts. So better than Tang, bro.
I'm crazy about the idea. Like I said, I don't know that I'm ready for a full-on lifestyle change, and there's a little bit of a cult thing that I'm hearing. But I wouldn't mind learning a little bit more and seeing what it can do to help me drop like a couple of other friends, that last 7 or 8 pounds.
Oh, I'd love to give you a shot of it, bro. I usually take people to lunch, just like you said earlier.
I'm in the building until noon.
All right, we'll slam one of those back and watch how fast it works.
Oh, okay,
Under an hour.
Looking forward to it, Adonis. Thanks. Oh, and so just because I know that you've got some experience with the Department of Youth Affairs, the escapees, the runaways, and all of that, how do we prevent some of the clients from walking out open windows there, based on your experience?
Well, you know, the truth be told, right, that they are non-criminal offenders. We treat them just like we would say at Lati, at Sanctuary. They haven't done any crimes, and it just means the staff just have to stay on point. There are signs sometimes we prevented more than, you know, actually occurred. And then you got the kids who are just one little, you know, inch ahead of everybody else. But, you know, love them, and a lot of these kids will stay. And you'd be surprised, you know, one of the funniest...
Well, I mean, they did escape. So, and while they were in a situation where, you know, in, quote, the cottage, where it's, you know, low risk and low stress with these guys, as a result of that now, are they going to be penalized and advanced to the next level of punitive action?
Well, you know,
because I mean that would be the ultimate sadness for me. Is yeah, they made this mistake and we're just there, you know, as a result of I don't know, a discipline problem or beyond control or getting bad grades in school or talking back to mom or whatever it was, and now they're in a situation based on their escape that they're going to be treated more like the criminal element, and I'm worried about them being moved into that realm of the criminal justice system.
You know, yeah, history tells that sad tale, Ray. But I will tell you that, you know, I love the workers at DYA, our staff, the clinicians, because the reason, you know, I was getting ready to tell you that even though these kids do this, sometimes the reason is because we love them, we love on them probably better than the love that they'll get at home, and that's not good or bad. It's just that they understand how a regimented, loving, caring, nurturing bunch of staff that we have working at DYA who are unsung heroes can make it difficult to leave. So you'd be surprised. There are kids who have actually attempted to act up so they could stay longer. And
institutionalized.
And unfortunately, right? But it's because the institution that is home in our community is unfortunately eroded to the point where why would they go home where they can't get 3 squares?
Yeah, well, that's unfortunately, you know? Unfortunately, there's I think a lot of that stems from drug problems with that their parents unfortunately are having and taking it out on the kids. But that's just me. 6:52. Listen, I'm going to run. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
Thank you, bro.
Like I said, I'm usually in the building until noon. So if you want to swing by and drop some stuff off, or better yet, I don't have any guests coming in today that I'm aware of. And if you want to come back later on and bring me some of that ketone juice that you're talking about, I'd love to try it. Love to try it on the air.
Cool. All
okay.
Right. Thanks for calling.
Not a problem. I appreciate you being out there. 888-8255. And yeah, it would have been more fun to spend the last 25 minutes talking about the drama that is Ray Tenorio and whether or not his political career is riding on one rail these days. But there's that. And you know, I got to tell you, based on what I'm seeing on the metrics on the Facebook Live and some of the other tools that we have, there are a lot of people that are very interested in this and want probably to hear more. So we might get around to doing a little bit more of that conversation. 6:53 in the morning, and among some of the stories that you might be following is the fact that the trade war between the United States and China has about officially started a couple of days ago. And I was thinking about a couple of things. I got a call yesterday from my buddy who was telling me that he had a couple of containers, or heard that there were a couple of containers of cardboard that got turned around from China, and that got me thinking about the shipping trade between China and the United States and what may or may not go through here. And I'm just kind of curious as to what the conventional wisdom is based on the possibility of this trade war and the tariffs that are being extended in both directions between the United States and China, how that will affect initially the trade between the two countries, but what about shipping? And will there be any effects of shipping on Guam as a result of this trade war between the U.S. and China? Charlie Hermosa is the boss of the shop over at American President Lines, where I say they are shipping the future all the time, and joins me on the radio now. Good morning, Charlie. You know, I hate it when I get that big buildup, and then I go to answer the phone, and there's nobody there. Charlie, are you on? Okay, I'm going to give the producer an opportunity to redial that call and see what happens. In the meantime, there's a bunch of other items in the table of contents that I think are going to be worthy of talking about. The difference between about $1,400 worth of what sounds like cosmetic repairs that need to be made over on the electrical panel at Guam Memorial Hospital versus the recommendations of a consultant who says the danger is more imminent, more real, and probably going to be more expensive. Provided below from the Guam Power Authority, the final report on their findings and recommendations regarding the GMH main electrical panel. The front of the panel was open, and the inspection revealed no visible signs of deterioration. There was evidence of dust accumulation inside the switchgear, exposed conducts, and mislabeled or missing equipment labels. Infrared testing was done on the breakers and the bus bar and wire connections on the bus bar. 3 hot spots indicating possible loose connections. And tell you could tighten that up with a pair of pliers. The main panel does not appear to be in danger of immediate failure. However, based on GPA's assessment, the following is recommended to continue safe operations. Number 1, schedule an outage to correct discrepancies found through thermal vision. These are the highest points of possible failure. 2, wipe down all equipment and remove all dust. 3, cover and seal exposed and unused conduits. Number 4, create labels for all of the equipment, clean all mating surfaces and apply a light coat of corrosion grease, and wire brush secondary conductor ends or cut and re-terminate if necessary. GPA proposes to perform this work at a cost of only $1,747. That's it. $1,747.
A lot less than $6 million to replace it, huh?
Exactly. And so you got to wonder, how do we want to play this particular piece here? Do you want to go with the advice and consent of the consultant, electrical consultant, or do you want to go with the Guam Power Authority? How much do you trust JB? How much do you trust John Beneventi and Peter John Camacho to go ahead and do something like this? The hotspots there, I love the equipment. They've got a gizmo at the place that, frankly, I want to get, and it's an infrared gun that you point at things, and when you've got the infrared gun pointed at the thing, it will show heat to you. And generally, in use, the idea behind that is so that you can see what those loose connections are. You can see places where there might be some issues. So we'll work on that 6:57 in the morning and see if we can get a hold of a couple of guys that can talk us through this particular deal. The other very, very interesting deal is a communication between Speaker B.J. Cruz and the Attorney General's office that I thought was pretty interesting. You can read up on it in the Guam Daily Post. In a nutshell, there is a concern that some at the Department of Revenue and Taxation, quite possibly the tax commissioner himself, Eddie Jerome Baza-Calvo, might be working through some negotiations with MidPAC on this $14 million tax lien that they've got. And frankly, BJ's position is, I don't want to lose the money. I don't want to lose the dough. If they owe us $14 million, I'd like to get all $14 million. There is already, somebody had dropped a rumor on me that, and it's from somebody I trust, dropped a rumor on me that there is already a settlement in play. And there is already certain amounts of monies that are supposed to be going from MidPAC to the Department of Revenue and Taxation. I don't know that that's good enough for BJ. I think he wants to put them and everybody else on notice that there should be no dealings, there should be no negotiations, there should be no absolution, I think is the word that BJ is looking for, without some kind of purview and conversation from the Attorney General's office. So we'll see what we can find out about all of that and a little bit more. Speaking of the Attorney General's office, maybe this will be the next online poll question, is do you think the Attorney General's office is going to be doing anything with the allegations and the concerns that have been expressed about the actions of Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio at the block party that took place over the weekend? The statement from them, and as I've said, it irked me the second I saw it, was that Hold on a second. I got to find it in the pile here. The Guam Police Department has forwarded to our office the incident involving an alleged taking of a police officer's official weapon by Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio. It will be thoroughly and independently investigated by the Criminal Division. So as not to politicize the investigation, no further comment will be made. They've already gagged themselves on this, and it bugs me because I'd like to know who at the Criminal Division is going to be conducting the investigation, when they anticipate the investigation is going to be complete, and based on which laws do they suppose it may have been violated in the entirety of the Guam Code annotated. And I don't know when we're going to find out about that, and it makes me nuts. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. We're KUSG Agana. News next.
A unified NATO. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. Despite some contentious moments during today's NATO summit in Brussels, the leaders of member countries coming together on several issues.
Because at the end of the day, we all agree that North America and Europe are safer together. NATO is good for Europe, and NATO is good for North America.
NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg. Earlier today, President Trump blasted Germany for its gas pipeline deal with Russia and urged other nations to dramatically increase their spending on defense.
The declaration that was released today, which really is a draft of the communique that we will see tomorrow, was very strong in its language of solidarity for NATO, very strong language about Russia and standing up to Vladimir Putin, saying that you can't have a normal relationship until he changes his ways, and very strong support for NATO members increasing their financial commitments.
Fox's John Roberts. China is the target of more proposed tariffs by the Trump administration.
President Trump is threatening China with 10% tariffs on $200 billion worth of goods. This would be the third round of duties on Chinese imports. Republican Senator Orrin Hatch says he supported the administration's targeted effort with China, but says the latest move appears reckless.
If we don't handle our international trade matters in an efficient and good way, we're going to hurt our chances in the world marketplace.
The Senate has passed a non-binding motion to have Congress serve as a check on precedents when imposing tariffs on national security grounds.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland in Washington. Talks of tariffs tanking stocks today. Escalating concerns over a trade war sent all three indexes sharply lower, the Dow falling 219. Well, there's celebrations in Zagreb. Croatia beating England 2-1 today, advancing to Sunday's World Cup final, where they'll face France. England and Belgium will battle for third place on Saturday. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Hi, this is Kathy, and I'm back in Guam ready to set off the fireworks with our 4th of July sale at Furniture Kathy Style. It's packed with fabulous furniture and prices that will blow your mind. Get 15 to 25% off store-wide or 12 months interest-free with approved credit. Our beautiful lamps are buy one, get one 50% off. Save big on hot deals like our 4-piece Ashley Sleigh bedroom set, starting at just $4.99. Stop by and see us at Furniture Kathy Style in Hagåtña.
The employees of Morocco Equipment on Guam have something very special all to themselves every morning they go to work, and that is pride. They have pride in the Morocco Equipment logo, and they have pride in wearing the Morocco Equipment uniform. They have pride in driving each Morocco Equipment service truck and in operating the Morocco Equipment lowboy heavy haul tractor. Morocco Equipment employees have pride in their company because they own the company. Morocco Equipment is now an employee-owned company. If you would like to join the Morocco Equipment ESOP team, please apply via moroccoequipment.com.
And the Ad Council.
Acting Administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, Andrew Wheeler, speaking for the first time since assuming his duties. He says the president told him to continue working for the goals of the administration.
He said, clean up the air, clean up the water, and provide regulatory relief.
Wheeler took over the agency following last week's resignation by controversial EPA Chief Scott Pruitt, who faced numerous ethics investigations into his spending and management practices. Heavy surf and life-threatening rip currents are possible along the East Coast as Hurricane Chris churns off in the Atlantic. The hurricane, with 90-mile-an-hour winds, is hundreds of miles east of the shore, but will affect a large portion of the northeast coast. The rescue ended yesterday, but the story about those 12 boys and their soccer coach trapped in a cave may be coming to a screen near you.
At least one Hollywood producer is in Thailand right now trying to get the movie rights to the story of the trapped boys and their coach, and also the rescue mission that saved them. His name is Michael Scott, and he's a co-founder of Pure Flix Entertainment, and he's currently talking to actors, writers, and investors about creating a movie based on the story. The Pure Flix team is also pursuing life rights of those that were involved in the ordeal, which would allow the company to dramatize the story. Interestingly enough, the Discovery Channel is already planning on running a 1-hour special on the rescue this coming Friday, just 5 days after the boys and their soccer coach were rescued after spending nearly 2 weeks in that flooded Thailand cave.
Fox's Mike Gunzelman. Facebook is facing its first financial penalty for allowing the data mining firm Cambridge Analytica to forage through the personal data of millions of its users. A British government office announced its intention to fine Facebook the U.S. equivalent of just over $660,000. That's the maximum possible for failing to safeguard that user information. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News Radio.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dedito 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Howdy, folks. KFC's Colonel Sanders here. It's summer, and KFC has something extra special to spice it up with KFC's new Sriracha Extra Tasty Crispy Chicken. Yep, we kicked up our Pika chicken a notch with Sriracha.
Woo! Sriracha!
It's spicy, tangy, and sweet. You've never had Sriracha like this before, so spice up your summer with KFC's new Sriracha Crispy Chicken. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
As we journey through 2018, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
Say hello to high-speed data on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. We've just upped your prepaid data, so make your big plans bigger with 1 gigabyte of data per day. Bigger prepaid data for your big plans that just keep getting better. Enjoy high-speed data and unlimited local talk and text on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. Text LTE to 3282, select a plan, and enjoy 1 gigabyte of data per day. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Thursday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio sat down separately with members of the island's media yesterday and apologized repeatedly for his conduct during Saturday's Pleasure Island barbecue block party in Tumon. Tenorio has admitted that he approached a uniformed on-duty Guam police officer from behind and lifted the service revolver out of the officer's holster after noticing that it did not appear to be securely fastened. When he first acknowledged that on Monday during an interview with the Guam Daily Post, the lieutenant governor called it a teaching moment for the officer, saying he had acted in the interest of public safety. Yesterday, however, following a storm of criticism, Tenorio said the teaching moment had been his own. He said, "I take full responsibility for my actions, and they are regrettable." In hindsight, he said, the teaching moment was mine. Tenorio apologized to the police officer whose service revolver he grabbed. He apologized to the men and women in law enforcement and the chief of police, and to Governor Eddie Calvo and the people of Guam. Whether that's enough to avoid criminal charges is now up to the Attorney General. The case has been assigned to the Criminal Division, and a statement from the Attorney General yesterday says it will be thoroughly and independently investigated. Tenorio told the Post that he is not above the law, but he said he does not believe he committed any crime. 2 men died yesterday after the vehicles they were driving crashed head-on in Sinahaña yesterday morning. Happened about 11:30 a.m. on Route 4 just south of the Chowd Bridge. 52-year-old Joe Blas worked for GTA and was driving a company van. 78-year-old Edward Eclavea was in his silver Hyundai Santa Fe. First responders performed CPR on each man at the scene and en route to Naval Hospital, where they were pronounced dead. The roadway was closed and the traffic diverted for nearly 4 hours yesterday afternoon while police investigated the crash and cleared the debris field. Blas was a coach for the Raiders youth football team. GTA President Roland Certeza issued a statement yesterday saying Blas was a passionate member of the GTA family for 30 years and worked in the engineering department. He said, "Our hearts and prayers go out to his family and friends during this difficult time." The Post is still trying to reach out to the family of the other victim, Eclavea. We'll have more news after this.
Do you love coffee? Do you love to draw? Be one of 11 lucky winners to win a year's supply of Circle K Premium Coffee. Simply stop by Circle K and pick up a blank Circle K coffee cup so you can showcase your doodling skills. Entries will be judged on artistic skills, creativity, and originality. And winners will get free coffee every day for a year. Visit stores or 76circlekguam.com for all rules and regulations. Circle K. Take it easy.
Connecticut water treatment customers don't keep coming back. They're satisfied the first time. That's right. Connecticut non-electric water treatment systems take care of your water problems, and you won't need to keep calling us for repairs. Join the list of satisfied Connecticut customers who purchased their non-electric water systems years ago and are still enjoying clean, conditioned water without any hassles from timers or circuit boards.
American Water Tech. Smarter water. Better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email them at info@americanwatertech.com.
11 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. The Department of Public Health facing cuts to its budget that will leave it unable to provide essential services next year, according to the latest in a series of releases from the governor's office cataloging the consequences of the sales tax repeal. Public Health's initial budget of $59 million for the next fiscal year has now been cut down to $43.5 million. Public Health Acting Director Leo Cassell says that means Medicaid funding may only last up to 3 or 4 months. Home-delivered meals on weekends, he said, for the elderly will be discontinued. Adult daycare services will be scaled back, along with reduced transportation services for the elderly. Since the Trump tax cuts took effect at the start of the year, all government of Guam agencies have been asked to reduce their budgets by 10%. Additional reductions have now been ordered in the face of what Speaker Benjamin Cruz says is a $145 million shortfall in the new fiscal year that begins October 1st. 2 girls who ran away from the Department of Youth Affairs cottage home last Friday have been captured. The teenagers, both 16, were safely apprehended without incident on Tuesday by DYA officers. DYA says they escaped through their bedroom window in the cottage home. The cottage home, of course, is meant to be non-restrictive, meaning clients are not locked up or restrained. DYA Director Peter Atta said there have been about 4 escapes that he can recall since December of 2016. The 2 teens have now been placed on room restriction status at the cottage home, and they face some additional charges of escaping, being beyond control, and violating a court order. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray with weather.
Thanks very much. Mostly cloudy today. Scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. There's southeast winds up to about 20 miles an hour, decreasing a bit after sunset. Daytime highs today should be about 86 degrees. Overnight lows much cooler, about 78 degrees. Sunset tonight at 6:52. Sunrise this morning at 6. And every once in a while, my producer Michael Knight will put some cosmic information in here. Mars sits high in the sky during the early morning hours as it moves into position to be closer to the Earth than it has been since its historically close approach on August 27th of 2003. You can look almost directly overhead in the hours before sunrise to view the planet Mars, which appears as an orange disk that shines steadily.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen that when you're on your morning runs. You look just Right
Straight up?
overhead. Yeah, and it's just this orange
Looking at
thing.
the
It's
ground.
popping.
Make
You
sure
can't
I
miss
don't-
it. You really can't miss it.
Yeah, mostly not so much when I'm running in the early morning. I'm not really looking for this. I'll look up in the sky, and if I can see the stars, that generally means it's not going to rain on me while I'm running. That's the only reason why I generally look up. I look down most of the time because number one, there are things that stick out of the ground in this town and holes in the sidewalks that I want to pay attention to. And the other one is sometimes I get really lucky and find like diamond rings and Rolex watches.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's,
Plus, there's a lot of strays. You don't want to step in a pile.
my eyes on all of that stuff. It's 7:14. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegui of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Yay. Thanks for mentioning that. I appreciate that. It's 7:50. I'm advancing the program a little bit further than I thought I should. 7:15. Portions of the program brought to you by APL. That's American President Lines. APL is shipping the future.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
I can't say enough about these guys. Love going there. Love the online banking that I can do with FHB, First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Morning talk that matters. The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Love this music. It got exactly the right amount of caffeine in it for a morning show like this. A lot of high energy conversation, high energy discussions about some really, really important things that are floating around here. And you know what? There's some days, and I got to admit this. There's some days that I'm not the sharpest tool in the box, and I get that. And it's days like that that I appreciate the idea that I've got a wonderful community of people on the Facebook Live that love to spend some time with me. And maybe in some cases guide me through some of the important conversations that we have to have. I was talking about the consultant versus GPA assessments of the main electrical panel at the place, and my buddy Nick chimed in. He says, "Yeah, $1,747, the estimate from GPA to affect the repairs on the electrical panel at Guam Memorial Hospital versus what could be a $6 million bill to replace the whole kit and caboodle." And I said, "Well, who do you trust? You trust JB and the guys over at the Power Authority with this work, or maybe you want to go with the consultant and pay whatever it is that he's going to be consulting us through." And my buddy Nick reminded me about some of the issues that have plagued the Guam Power Authority, including an explosion at one of the electricity factories. So he's maybe a little bit of it might be tongue in cheek in there, and maybe not. He just says keep in mind all of the things that have happened sometimes with the Power Authority and see where that takes us. Actually, there's going to be a conversation between the Power Authority and Senator Telena Nelson at some point today, I think tonight at the legislature. They're going to be talking about the Levelized Energy Adjustment Clause. current power systems and the status of a 180-megawatt power plant in Dededo. I would hope that if the opportunity comes up, they talk about net metering in there as well, because I think there's, if you take a look at the Guam Daily Post, a couple of folks, Jeff Oakola and Bill Hagan, contacted about their thoughts on what they believe that the Guam Power Authority is going to be doing with net metering and the adjusted costs for people that have got these solar systems on their rooftops and the ones with batteries and all of that. And they think maybe they're moving a little bit too quick through that. You know what? We got to take a look at what happened on the markets, and unfortunately, it's taking me just a second. I got to call the screen back up. I somehow or another, or maybe I'll just blame Kevin or Mike on this. The website that I go to has closed, so I got to reopen it and find out where the markets. They're all in the red. By the way, and it has everything to do with the additional tariffs being placed on the Chinese, another round in the trade war that is going on. And again, we'll talk with Charlie Hermosa from over at APL and get his thoughts on how that's going to be affecting shipping in general and what the impacts might be on shipping in and out of Guam. While I'm waiting for those numbers to come up, I do have numbers on West Texas crude, and the good news is West Texas crude is down and down hard. It's about 74, 75 bucks in the last week or so. Today, West Texas crude is trading at $70.62, down by almost $4.75 worth of trading value for a barrel of West Texas crude. So that's good, and that will come when JB is sitting down with Talena today. That's what he's going to say. He's going to say the levelized energy adjustment clause, I don't think we need to go near that, because Ray Gibson said West Texas is trading at $70.
Yeah, they must have fracked through another, million years of oil deposits.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been. I don't know. I didn't look it up. But, the good Lord giveth and the good Lord taketh away. So we got a little bit of push and pull here. 70.62 for West Texas crude. Yeah. And Tapas is 30 cents away from being an $80 barrel. No! Yeah, that's ugly. $79.70 for a barrel of Tapas. I know you hate it when I say that might be the figure that prompts the gas companies in this town to increase their the charge for their per gallon charge.
That's a
I know you hate it when I say it.
Though. I think it's reasonable.
I know, but it's so I'm not going to say it today.
Because they went up when it was, 68, I want to say, before it hit 70.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Now you're
I
up another $12 a barrel.
I'd have to look at the historical data and see where it was trading when they went up. But, I mean, it's almost $80 for a barrel of Tapas, and if that's what it cost these guys to buy it, then we're going to have to pay that.
They're going to share the love.
So don't be surprised if you're near E. If you're that driver that likes to get close to vapors before you put gas in the car, you might want to do it today while gas is still at, what, $4.43?
I think that's
$4.43 a gallon, and because there's the possibility that it could go. But I'm not saying that. I'm just, just highlighting that's sometimes what happens.
I honestly don't know how much gas is because I steal all of mine from government vehicles.
Nice. Good man. The S&P 500 trading 19 points lower this morning, 27.74. The NASDAQ at 77.16. I want to say by percentage-wise, they're the bigger loser, but that's not quite it. At 24,700, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is the biggest percentage loser. The American market's 219 points lower this morning. And as I said, I think that has everything to do with the tariff conversation. Trade war between China and the United States of America. The FTSE at 75.91. See the Nikkei banging at 21,932, but that's actually off by 264 points. Hang Seng off by 370 points, 28,311. For those of you watching the other market in Shanghai, that's at 27.77 this morning. The misery index is up about a point, and like I said, oil at $70.61 or so, and that is going to be good news for John Beneventi and anybody that has a power bill in this town. 722, that's what happened in the markets, and about now is a good time to find out what's going through the mind of Jerry Roberts. Here's today's Extra Point.
Today is a day for wisdom, the wisdom of the bosses. Can you recall something said by one of your bosses that has stuck with you through the years? I'm Jerry Roberts, and let's mine a little bit of that gold today on the Extra Point. In your career, you likely have worked for at least one manager who said something, or perhaps many things, that keep coming back to you over and over again. These might be his or her pet phrases, words that they said more than once in your presence, words that you might have judged profound the first time you heard them. And maybe you and a coworker giggled a bit the 5th or 10th time. Here's a sampling of things maybe one of your bosses might have said. The person who knows how will always have a job. The person who knows why will always be his or her boss. I'm sure I heard that one at least once. The best way to appreciate your job is to imagine yourself without one. How about this? The only time some people work like a horse is when the boss rides them. Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, said, "There is only one boss, the customer, and he can fire everybody in the company from the chairman on down, simply by spending his money somewhere else." And I'm sure you've heard the next one. The only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. Always know why you're making the decision you're making. Here's something that Ray's dad might have said once. Dress for where you want to be, not where you are. And I know he said this one. If it's not in writing, it didn't happen. Henry Ford offered, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. I don't know who originally coined this line, but my mom, my original boss, would say it. Your past doesn't predict your future. If you've had tough times in your life and you're thinking that's the way it will always be, know that countless people have turned things around just like that. And then there was one of my earlier bosses, Big Ed, who made a great difference in my life. I think the one I remember best is, if you don't have time to do it right, when will you have time to do it over? Now that one has been attributed to famed UCLA basketball coach John Wooden, Albert Einstein, and others. But in my book, it will always belong to Big Ed. So now it's your turn. If you have one to share from a current or past boss, drop it in the Facebook chat for The Point Guam Radio, or by any other means you would normally use to contact the host of this here radio program. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3 and the wisdom-filled Ray Gibson Show, I'm Jerry Roberts.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the nod. I know many sayings, but the one that comes to mind thinking about an old boss and something an old boss might have said to me, I can't remember which one it was, and it was probably all of them in my career. I've had the pleasure of working for some great guys, and I'm trying to remember that. The one that I think I've heard the most is, Gibson, just what the hell's the matter with you? I think it's one of the phrases I've heard from many of my bosses. There's a Michelle. I'm going to forget her last name here, but she's the artist. You can buy her artwork over at Moses' place. Somebody on the Facebook Live tell me about her. But she taught me a thing a couple of years ago that stayed with me, and that's always try to have kind of a slogan about yourself, and it's, you know, everybody's got like a pet phrase or something like that, right, that they keep with them all the time. And she said, well, just come up with a new one every year. You know, January, just come up with a new one. You know, an operative slogan or a word that you want to use to define your year. And I thought, well, that was a great thing, and it didn't occur to me until recently. That maybe the one, and I'd written this down years ago in a journal, and I just recently found it, and so I've been sharing it as much as possible with myself and other friends. So if you're looking for something, you know, maybe a piece of boss wisdom, try this one for the day. Just let this roll around in your head for today. All right, you ready for it? Courage is always rewarded. Courage is always rewarded. So take a chance on something today, right? Ask for that raise. Ask for the date. Courage is always rewarded. 7:27. I'll be right back.
When you think about better water, think Connecticut softened water. Connecticut water conditioners work like no other, supplying a continuous flow of luxuriously soft water without disruption and without use of electricity. After all, better water flows from better thinking. Connecticut.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email info@americanwatertech.com. Yes, last name. Thank you very much. Last name Alston says the last name I was looking for here is Michelle Peer. That's the artist I was thinking of that inspired me to always have kind of a word for the year or a slogan for the year. Courage is always rewarded. 7:28, and it's time to take a look at traffic. Looks like we've got traffic building up around the Navy Hospital area. If you're headed from Agana and Agana Heights towards that area, expect some delays. Looking at traffic on Route 14, that's the Challenge San Antonio around Applebee's and the GPO. You might see some traffic that is trying to get off that road onto Marine Corps Drive. Same thing coming out of the Hospital Road area. Up and down Tumon, in and out of various roads on Marine Corps Drive between, say, Kmart and Waiseng Song Deredo. You're going to see some lines of traffic. There are cars out there. They all seem to be moving, but just seems to be a little bit more by way of traffic today than usual. Traffic getting into Agana shouldn't be much of a problem. In and out of Marine Corps Drive in front of the Paseo. There's cars, but I don't see anything that's going to slow you down too much. 7:28, that's right now traffic on the point.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest Steak and Cheese, Turkey, Bacon, and Guac, Rotisserie-style Chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience. But I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway, make it what you want.
Neach, do me a favor. Neach had sent me a note about somebody's birthday earlier this morning, and I don't think I've got that on the Facebook Live thing anymore. So if you could, get me a thing. Come back to me with what you wrote so I can take care of that shout out. Jennifer's son is having a birthday today. Happy Sweet 16. Madden Julian Oscillation, the MJO. According to Elwin Jimpaco, a guy who grabs your gun during bad weather and heavy partying. Whoa there. Easy now. With it's everywhere. You can't get away from it. Yeah, Neats, do me a favor. Get back to me on that. We were talking about quotes from the boss. Randy Kruger says, rule number 1, the boss is always right. Rule number 2, if the boss is wrong, read rule number 1. Yeah. Jerry Roberts says, courage is always rewarded. I'm talking with a group today, and I'm going to use it. Good. I'm glad. I hope somebody is able to get some inspiration out of something like that. And there's a fella that who's always, in my mind, displayed a great deal of courage and fortitude and just being able to get the job done. And he used to go out and get deployed all the time with General Rod Leon Guerrero over at the guard shop. And I'd always tell the guys, keep your head down and call me if you need me. I don't wear the uniform of our country, never had the privilege of service, but if you guys get in a scrap, they're like brothers to me, Rod and Dyron. So I said, you guys ever get in a scrap, you call me. I'll come out and take care of you. And they never needed it, but it's still nice to see that they're continuing to plug away. Rod Leon Guerrero with, I don't know how many flags he's got now. I think he's up to a couple. And he's going to be joined by his classmate Dyron Cruz as a brigadier general. So I wanted to take just a second from the program and say to Dyron how proud I am of you. I've always appreciated your friendship, and I'm really, really excited for this new opportunity that Uncle Sam is affording you as a brigadier general. Way to go, and you make all of us from the Father Duenas class of 1980 very, very proud. It's kind of interesting that as we were graduating from high school in 1980, we were just then beginning to stand up the guard that he is so proud of and such a big part of. So congratulations to you, Dyron. It's 7:32 and time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, the Drug Enforcement Agency working closely now with the Guam Police Department and the Mandanya Drug Task Force to find out more about that 5 pounds of cocaine discovered Tuesday at the Mr. Rubbishman recycling facility in Harmon while workers were sorting some trash there. DEA resident agent in charge Edward Talbot telling the Post that the DEA appreciates the attention to detail given by the Mr. Rubbishman employees and their subsequent call to law enforcement when they found that brick of cocaine. Mr. Rubbishman chairman Phil Flores says his employees are cooperating fully with police. They contacted authorities the minute they noticed that the package that looked suspicious. Flores said there were no Chinese characters on the package, which had been observed on some packages of cocaine discovered washed up along the east coast of the island in March and April of this year. The contract negotiations with the new president of the University of Guam nearly complete, according to retiring UOG President Robert Underwood. Underwood telling radio host Ray Gibson on The Point yesterday morning that he expects Thomas Kreis, to assume the presidency of the university in August. The final details of his employment agreement should be wrapped up by next week, said Underwood, and a formal announcement will be made at that time. We can now begin a transition process, said Underwood. The University of Guam Board of Regents voted for Kreis to succeed Underwood during a meeting on June 21st. A 38-year-old South Korean man who came to Guam for a vacation did not expect to celebrate his wedding anniversary in jail here. Ji-Hun Lee arrived July 1st on a flight from Seoul but was stopped by Customs and Border Protection agents because there was a warrant for his arrest in Nevada. Lee was brought to the Superior Court of Guam on a petition for extradition so he could be sent back to Nevada, where he faces criminal charges stemming from an incident back in 2009. However, attorney David Lujan disagreed with the extradition, contacted the Clark County District Attorney's Office in Nevada, and was told if his client paid the bail, the warrant would be dismissed. Lujan explained that Nevada authorities told him that if we paid that bail, they would dismiss the warrant of arrest in the case because it's too complicated and expensive to fly to Guam to bring him back to Nevada. Lujan called it a win-win for both sides. Lee was released from the Agana detention facility yesterday after spending 10 days in jail. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
It's too hard. What's the easy way to do this? Can we just send a check? Can somebody just pay something?
Welcome to America.
Yeah.
Now, go to jail.
Let's do it the dumbest way possible because it's easiest and cheapest for you. That's... It's 7:35 in the morning. Hi, my name is Ray Gibson, and iConnect time is 7:35. They want you to connect longer for less with iConnect's incredible push-to-talk and mobile plans.
Sometimes a penny saved can lead to much more than a penny earned. With GPA Energy Sense rebate program, the power is yours. Earn money back while saving on your monthly power bill. GPA Energy Sense rebate program will help lower your initial costs when purchasing approved GPA energy-efficient appliances and upgrades with monthly savings you can expect. For more Energy Sense saving ideas, visit GuamPowerAuthority.com or like us on Facebook. GPA, bringing energy solutions to you.
7:35, and as we move deeper into drive time, I'm seeing a few more spots that might be slowing you down here. Like I said, in front of the Navy Hospital up in Agana Heights. If you're headed towards there from Agana Heights, you might see a slowdown in traffic. And that's probably going to turn into something down Snake Road and maybe even snag things up as you get closer and closer to the old Automasters as you make your way towards Adelup. And I'm looking at traffic that on Route 10 over by American Medical, over by Vince's place. Looks like there might be a few more cars that are massing up there. I am seeing a lot of cars out on the roads. I'm seeing traffic building, but not traffic slowing, and there is a distinction between the two of them. So I wanted to make sure that you are aware of it, and I don't know why you wouldn't be, because you're actually out there where the cars are. All I've got is a gizmo. Hey, if there's an accident or something you think other motorists need to know about, 888-8255. That's 888-8255. And before I'm done with the traffic, you can bring the traffic music down. I'd asked Neats to send me a note here, and she wanted to send a shout out to the grandson and the rest of the 11-year-old Cal Ripken All-Stars as they're on their way to compete for the Southwest Regional title in Bakersfield, California. And for a lot of the kids, like her grandson, 11 years old, it is the first trip that they're going to be going on without their family. That's a big deal. Do you remember your first trip, Kev? First time you ever got on an airplane or a bus or a train without your mom, dad?
Yes, I do.
Well, where was it? Where'd you go?
New York City to Detroit. My aunt was a stewardess.
So she carried you? Well, I mean, not
my
carried
brother
you.
and I, yeah, it was exciting. That's back in the day when flying was fun.
Oh, yeah. Before TSA and all the regulations and snotty flight attendants.
And waiting in line.
And waiting, yeah. I struggle to remember that for a second. When was the first time that I ever got on an airplane without adult supervision? What about you?
With me, well, I had adult supervision because it was my aunt and my uncle. My uncle owned a Cessna, and they lived in Mississippi. They flew on in. Yeah, they flew on into Houston to pick me up and take me to go ahead of my parents who were driving there just a couple of days later. So I got to fly in an airplane for the first time with them. I got extremely sick, and it was something I'll never forget.
My friend, of a delicate constitution, but still, how exciting must that have been?
It was great. No, it was cool. It was very cool.
I don't have that gene where I get into small airplanes and freak out.
Small planes, no problem. The big ones, I hate them.
Well, I don't know that I've ever hated the experience of flying in the sky like a bird. I like the experience, but I've noticed when I get on an airplane, one of these smaller airplanes, a little prop job or something like that, I've noticed that there are people that don't like the experience because they don't fly the same way as a 777. No. I mean, there's a lot up and down, and a lot of motion, and a little bit of wiggle on the stick makes a big difference on what the plane feels like. And I've seen people just go completely ashen white when they get on these planes. As far as I'm concerned, that's a thrill ride. When somebody starts telling me about, hey, let's go up in a Cessna or something like that, yes, happy to do it. Would love to get. I see these guys flying around and in these little planes, and they're getting their licenses and stuff, and I'm jealous. Yeah. I want to be able to do that. I just don't want to pay. So if there's anybody listening to the program right now that would like to pay and help me out, that would be absolutely awesome. 7:39 in the morning. Are we done with commercials? No? Okay, well, this break, and then we'll finally get caught up with Charlie Hermosa. Hey, bud, how you doing? Are we groovy today? 7:40 in the morning, the Ray Gibson Show, and a whole lot of wait and see on a bunch of issues here. GMH Electrical Panel, the Tenorio Apology Tour, and all of that stuff. So I figured you're up to speed on all of that. I think the only things that otherwise people are worried about or are expressing some kind of concern is, hey, what's happening with the weather? There is a tropical disturbance kind of in the neighborhood. Michael Knight can brief you on that here in just a second. Let you know where it is and what kind of weather it's going to be bringing us, and is this going to be cause for me to have to close my shutters? Is there anything out there that...
No, not right now. But, we hinted, and I did in the forecast, that going into next week and with this new MJO phase ramping up, the computer models are showing a whole lot of development in our region, and stuff is just going all 5 million different directions. So no one really knows what's going to happen or how it's going to shake out. So we got to keep our eyes out and keep things under watch for the next couple of weeks.
Okay, so any preparations that you made last week with that little storm with Maria blowing through here before she went super typhoon? Any preparations you made? Just hold on to those. Don't know where the flashlights and the batteries and Biscuito and Spam and all of those things that are our kind of, I don't know, storm fetish food. 7:41 in the morning. And as I said, look at the markets today. And the markets are all down. There's some new tariffs and new, I don't know, bullets being thrown around in what is essentially a trade war between the United States and China. You got Trump that's trying to balance things out here. And we, I guess, have to watch and see what's going to be happening with the cost of goods that you and I might buy that come out of China. But initially, I'm kind of curious as to how that's going to affect shipping, and is there a possibility that there could be an impact on shipping of goods in and out of Guam? For that conversation, very close, very dear personal friend, Charlie Hermosa from APL, American President Lines, join me now. Hey, good morning, Charlie. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Ray. How are you?
I'm okay, and I'm vitally concerned about baby Jet. How is the dog?
He's doing fine, a lot better. This morning he was up and running, and once you see him batting socks, I think he's good to go.
Something about eating socks. This is not a great phone connection. Is there a way that you can move a little bit closer to the microphone, or if you're on a Bluetooth, go ahead and put put me on a regular phone?
Let me see if I can move here.
Yeah, go find a window or something, because everybody loves digital technology until it comes to this swimmy sound that sometimes you get on the telephone.
Okay.
How you doing now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
No, I hate this connection. When you get to the office, can you call me on a regular phone?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Like I said, I just want to play around with the concept. Incidentally, Jet is the dog, and the dog had a vomiting issue, and is like the absolute cutest little Shih Tzu puppy in the whole wide world. And I refuse to fall in love with this dog. 7:43 in the morning, and we'll take a spin into a whole other different direction. You might have noticed there's a journalism outfit on social media, A&J, and they've produced a couple of interesting videos about Guam from the perspective of, just how colonized we are, and maybe moving forward with self-determination. And it's funny how there's a coincidence. This will usually come up in conversation, generally around liberation time to begin with, but it's never a bad conversation when we start thinking about where we are in our lives as the people of Guam, or where we are in our relationship with the federal government, where we are in the relationship between men and women that have worn the uniform and the federal government of the United States of America. And there's, as I said, this editorial piece that is asking about independence for Guam, and whether that's going to be something we want. As I say, it's an interesting coincidence because in this morning's PDN, Ron McNinch dusts off the idea of dusting off the original 70s era constitution that Guam developed. Carl Gutierrez and I have had numerous conversations on the subject, numerous email conversations on the subject, and it has already been approved by the then President Jimmy Carter, already been approved by then the Congress of the United States of America. It only lacks ratification by the people of Guam, and that might be an interesting first step as we go. But as I was tempted to press the play button on the video, I got a note from Neil Weir, and Neil Weir has been very, very active in trying to secure suffrage for the people of Guam and other territories to try to vote for the President of the United States and try to clarify, if possible, our relationship between the insular parts of the United States and the federal government. Good morning, Neil.
How's today, Ray? Good morning.
And always nice to hear from you. I know your mom's listening, so go ahead and say hello to the family.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. Apparently you can't hear me very well.
Yeah, I'm having a little trouble hearing you.
Boy, this is just not the good day for the phones. Well, let me, to the degree that you can hear me, what have you been up to, and explain the relevance between what you are working on and those videos that are floating around Facebook and other social media.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the video featuring Rodney Cruz, who's the head of a Guam Veterans Organization that we're representing in an appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court to expand voting rights in U.S. territories. And also appreciated the take, looking at folks who are looking seriously at independence. I think kind of the important takeaway from the video is that it's time for the people of Guam to be taking these issues seriously and really looking at all options to empower the people of Guam to really choose their own future, and whether that's the future of equality under the U.S. flag with full voting rights or independence. It's a serious conversation that's important for folks to have, particularly as Liberation Day approaches.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I don't know if you're up on the headlines around here. Nobody is talking about a conversation of independence or voting rights for the people of Guam as much as we're talking about Ray Tenorio at a block party over the weekend. And so I think you're gonna need to punch through that a little bit, and some other political headlines these days before we're able to do one or the other. But I thought it was an interesting take, and they talked to the right people, and I appreciated Rodney Cruz's contribution to advancing that conversation. Of course, Professor Mike Bavacqua, in the video as well. I've got about 2 more minutes left on the video before I'm done with it, and I'm interested to see see where the rest of it goes. I did stop watching when Victoria came on, not because it was Victoria, but because I had to start doing a morning show. At any rate, it is an interesting piece of coverage, and it's worth watching. It's not so long for the internet that it's going to turn you off or leave you wanting any more. But let's go back to your conversation. You've got some new briefs that you put in there, right?
Pardon?
Tell me what the latest is on your cases.
Yeah, so we have a case where we're representing Rodney Cruz's veterans organization as well as 2 veterans in Guam, 2 veterans in Puerto Rico, and the community activists in the U.S. Virgin Islands to argue for expanded voting rights in U.S. territories. We've actually filed the petition before the U.S. Supreme Court. It's going to be considered in October. And the case has received a lot of support, including from the government of Puerto Rico, the government of the Virgin Islands, prominent national voting rights scholars, and others. So really making the case that where you live shouldn't impact your right to vote. As part of that, we've started a new crowdfunding campaign to build momentum as we work towards bringing these issues to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, unfortunately, these kind of things cost money. So let me give the address here, and if you like, you can have somebody post it on the Facebook page. Crowdjustice.com is where you want to go to.
Yeah, you might be able to find the link easier if you actually go to the website equalrightsnow.org. You'll see a link for it on the page there, or if you go to our Facebook page, Equally American, you can find the link to the page there right on top. But yeah, we're halfway towards our goal of raising $10,000, and we're actually just halfway through the campaign itself. We've got another couple of weeks to hit our goal. If we don't hit the goal, we actually don't get any money. So it's important that we do have support to reach that goal. And really, Indian Amount helps in addition to raising money. We're also trying to get as many supporters as possible, because the number of supporters also really matters a lot.
It certainly does. Unfortunately, Neil, the quality of this phone connection is lousy, and I think it's frustrating for me and frustrating for the listeners. I'll go over a couple of the bullet points that you've given and see if we can help out by raising some dough. When you get into town, or if we get an actual telephone in your hand, because I think that makes a difference sometimes, then you're always welcome to call back in and let me know what's going on. EqualRightsNow.org is the website. Crowdjustice.com is where you need to go, /K/voting, and that will take you to a place where you can donate some money to Neil's important cause, and it's vital that somebody takes this case before the Supreme Court. Neil, I'm going to run. I'll talk to you soon, and perhaps see you around Liberation.
Thanks so much.
I appreciate it. I appreciate your time, and as I said, just frustrating with the quality of the calls that I seem to be getting. Everybody loves the digital technology, like I said, but it just makes it so that we can fit more phone calls into the pipeline, and unfortunately, in doing that, it takes away a whole lot of the crispy fidelity that we ought to be having. 7:51, and here's a local call. Maybe this will work out. Former Senator Bob Klitsky. Good morning, Bob.
It's a great connection, Ray.
It's a great connection. Oh, thank God I can hear everything. This is perfect.
All the way up here in Jigo, and it's working fine.
I'm glad to hear that. I thought there was something wrong with my system. All right. Here's the quick and dirty, and as I said, it torqued me off. We know that there was enough information floating around from a variety of reports that there was cause for an investigation to take place based on Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio's activities at the Glock party the other night. Paul Tapau indicated that the case has been forwarded, the information has been forwarded to the Attorney General's office. The AG's office came out almost immediately with their statement, that is, the Guam Police Department has forwarded to our office the incident involving an alleged taking of a police officer's official weapon by Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio. It will be thoroughly and independently investigated by the Criminal Division. So as not to politicize the investigation, no further comment will be made. So it doesn't look like I'll be getting any information out of the Attorney General's office on this. So I thought maybe you got a JD. You wear the black robe. Maybe I can get something out of you. Has a crime been committed in your eyes?
Yes.
Which one?
Let's see. I don't have my script in front of me, but if nothing else, he has publicly stated that he has no firearms ID. And just to have a pistol in your hand if you don't have a firearms ID is a crime. Then we get into, I don't remember which one it is, 19.30, I think.
So you believe that there's a firearms violation? Was the police officer assaulted?
That's it. Yeah, assault. There is a technical assault there because he used a weapon and in a way that would be dangerous to other people. Yeah, if I had my script here, yeah, I'd go through my script and tell you that there are arguably several different crimes implicated by what he did. There isn't any way that a citizen can take a gun away from someone else without that person's permission, without committing some kind of a crime. If nothing else, it's theft.
Reckless is such a statute of reckless conduct?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So there would be some grounds, ample grounds that, and I don't know, based on the statements that have been made as part of the apology tour, do we even need to say alleged anymore? I think there's certainly admission that the lieutenant governor reached around and took a firearm away from a police officer. You believe that in and of itself is a firearms violation and technical assault?
Yes. And then not having a firearms ID, that's pretty conclusive. Those three things. And by the way, Ray, Dennis Rodriguez has come out now and said that executive security should be done away with.
Yes.
I'm going to have to take issue with that. I think that Ray Tenario's executive security should be doubled, so that instead of having 2 police officers in tow, he has 4.
For the purpose of?
Protecting the public. I'm not worried about the lieutenant governor, but to be around him in public is now a potential danger to any innocent bystander because, all of the horrible things that could have happened that didn't happen, not because of any intelligent action or inaction by the lieutenant governor. It's by the grace of God, good luck, or a particular alignment of the stars. But the officer could have reacted, another officer could have reacted. So many bad things could have happened that didn't happen.
I wonder if, and there's a number, whether it's Ray Tenorio or whoever this could have happened to. What are your thoughts immediately about anything happening over at the Attorney General's office? I think that's the next concern that people have is after all of this has been done and the copious amounts of mea culpas and chest beating and apologies. I think people might be able to move past that and now look towards the Attorney General's office to see what version of justice is going to be coming out of there. What are your thoughts now that the investigation has gone now apparently to the criminal division of the Attorney General's office?
Well, here's a throwaway, Ray. Remember the program Hogan's Heroes?
Yeah.
Remember Sergeant Schultz?
Vividly. I know nothing.
Hogan, I see nothing.
I see nothing.
Yeah. So it seems that Sergeant Schultz had been reincarnated and put in charge of the Attorney General's office for a long period of time. That had been my experience. So I don't look very optimistically on the Attorney General's office taking any action whatsoever. But I will say this. I'm not in much contact with the Attorney General's office now.
Gee, I wonder why.
Police department days, the Attorney General's office used to have its own investigators. They were armed, they were peace officers, they could and did make arrests, etc. And there was a little bit of tension or friction or rivalry between them and GPD officers. Now, if that's still the situation, yeah, maybe.
I remember that was the case. Troy Torres, my understanding is, Troy Torres also swore out a complaint at the Guam Police Department. And do you suppose, is there anything that can come from that? Can there still be an investigation being made in GPD based on that complaint?
Well, from what I've read in the paper, the police department would not open a case in the absence of a complaint, which seemed rather strange. But and it's kind of like the Election Commission and some of these other outfits that, you know, they could watch a crime or violation happen right in front of them and say, well, unless we get a complaint, there's really nothing we can do. So
right.
Troy has fulfilled that function here lately. You need a complaint? Fine, I'll give you a complaint. So what Troy did was he made it very difficult for anybody to say, well, there's really nothing we can do because no one has filed a complaint, and so
no charges have been pressed. Nobody's mad. Nobody's upset.
Yeah, exactly. So Troy's earning his keep, whatever that is.
Yeah, I don't know, but it is going to be interesting. How do you think this is going to end?
I think the way it'll end will be that probably there will be an opportunity for Ray Tenorio to plead guilty to something, a misdemeanor, a petty misdemeanor, or something like that, that does not involve moral turpitude, allowing him to start a second round, or maybe it's a third round of mea culpas, continue on with his campaign, and when he gets to the general election, finish a rather weak second.
Write it down. That's what Bob Klitsky said. July 12th, 8 o'clock. I'll talk to you pretty soon. Have a fantastic day.
Okay,
Thanks for the laughs. And be listening for an important announcement about Senator Bob Klitsky and The Point FM. KUSG had gotten you. That's us. That's this radio station. Coming up, Fox News in just seconds. And then on the other side of that, the amazing Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post with a look at all of the big stories that we're going to be chasing around here today. 888-8255. Facebook Live. RayGibsonShow@gmail.com. Multiple ways to get a hold of me. I read every email I get. I might not read them on the air, but I definitely read them. And they all, in one way or another, color the way I think about topics. And then I can color the way you think about them, too. Like I said, Fox News next, right here on The Point.
Smoothing things over. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The NATO summit off to a rough start, but by the end, taking a more friendly tone.
A tough talk today from President Trump and his suggestion. Why stop at 2% of commitment of GDP for NATO and defense? Let's all go to 4%. That would put the United States even in a box because the United States in 2018 projected to spend 3.5% of GDP on defense. So President Trump would have to bump it up just a little bit. By the time that today's meetings of the summit were over, any differences that existed between President Trump and German Chancellor Angela Merkel appear to have dissipated.
Fox's John Roberts in Brussels. The president and Merkel exchanging pleasantries at a reception before a dinner with NATO leaders. Survivors of the mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, filing a federal lawsuit. Fox's Gernal Scott has more live.
Lisa, the suit alleges lack of action and poor training were among the reasons for 17 deaths during the incident, adding that it caused psychological trauma as the shooter, Nicholas Cruz, took lives. Attorney Solomon Radner says this is not targeting police in general.
This is a shot at specific law enforcement officials who failed the students on that particular day.
Among those named as defendants, Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel, Resource Officer Scott Peterson, accused of not engaging the shooter, and Broward County itself. Damages sought, not specified, Lisa.
Gernal, President Trump's pick for Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh continues to make the rounds in the Senate today, meeting with Ohio Republican Rob Portman.
I think as America gets to know him better through this process, people will be very impressed because he's the kind of person you would want to have on the United States Supreme Court, dealing with the tough issues the court will face.
Some Democrats strongly opposed to Kavanaugh's nomination, fearing he will work to reverse Roe versus Wade. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Do you love coffee? Do you love to draw? Be one of 11 lucky winners to win a year's supply of Circle K Premium Coffee. Simply stop by Circle K and pick up a blank Circle K coffee cup so you can showcase your doodling skills. Entries will be judged on artistic skills, creativity, and originality. And winners will get free coffee every day for a year. Visit stores or 76circlekguam.com for all rules and regulations. Circle K. Take it easy.
We get it. Gas and utility rates keep rising with no end in sight. But with Double Play from GTA, you can get an extra sweet summer deal that'll save you extra cash. Sign up today and get 50 megabits per second with fiber home internet, unlimited talk and text, plus 25 gigabytes of wireless data. And new customers get the first month free with no contract. Save over $500 in the first year and get extra this summer with Double Play from GTA. Conditions apply. Visit GTA.net for more details.
12 members of the Thailand youth soccer team and their coach continue to recover after their dramatic rescue from a flooding cave after being trapped for over 2 weeks.
We've been shown for the first time dramatic pictures from inside the cave during that rescue. These have been released by the Navy SEALs, and on those pictures we can see rescue teams collecting a person on a stretcher. They call this mission the mission the world will never forget. And you can see a person being carried through dark caves, dive teams preparing for that mission. You can see on the pictures just how deep the water was at points up to their armpits, sometimes even deeper, of course, because they had to go swimming through those passages.
Sky News reporter Siobhan Robbins, the producers behind Christian films like God Is Not Dead, are already in Thailand with plans to develop a movie about the boys' ordeal. An unusual assault investigation in Florida.
A man with no arms is jailed on charges he stabbed a Chicago tourist in Miami Beach. Police say 46-year-old Jonathan Crenshaw held a pair of scissors with his feet and stabbed a 22-year-old man shortly after midnight Tuesday. Investigators say Crenshaw, who is homeless, is well known in the area, painting canvases with his feet at a trendy spot along South Beach. Crenshaw claims he was lying down when the victim punched him in the head. He responded by stabbing the man, then fleeing the area. Crenshaw is charged with aggravated battery. Rich Dennison, Fox News.
The driver of the station wagon hit by George Clooney's scooter on the Italian island of Sardinia says he was waiting to turn when a scooter went by. Then another one driven by the actor slammed into him. Clooney was treated and released from a hospital. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together. Apply today for First Hawaiian Bank's United Mileage Plus credit card. And upon approval, you will be entered to win 2 round-trip business class tickets on United. You'll also earn up to 30,000 bonus miles, 5,000 upon opening your new account, and 25,000 after spending $1,500 within 3 months. And you'll get 2 times the mileage on United ticket purchases. Apply by August 31, 2018. Stop by any branch or visit us online at FHB.com. Terms and conditions apply. Sweepstakes starts on July 1, 2018 and ends on August 31, 2018. Open to legal residents of Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands aged 18 years or older. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Visit www.fhb.com/United Sweepstakes for official rules and complete details. Member FDIC.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest Steak and Cheese, Turkey, Bacon, and Guac, Rotisserie-style Chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience. But I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway, make it what you want.
More than 40 local companies have partnered with Take Care to bring you some of the best deals across the island through the Take Care Affinity Rewards program. From Spa Bali, Guam Reef and Gabriel's Restaurant to Tango Theaters, Dolce Frutti, and many more. Take Care members can simply present their membership cards at our partner locations to receive a special offer or discount. For a complete listing of Take Care's affinity partners and deals, visit TakeCareAsia.com or check out our Take Care app for all the latest updates.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Thursday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Speaker Benjamin Cruz has written to Attorney General Elizabeth Barrett Anderson and Department of Revenue Tax Director John Camacho, asking them not to proceed with any attempt to absolve mid-pack distributors of any unpaid taxes or penalties. In his letter, the Speaker urged Anderson to advise Revenue Tax that no settlement, no waivers, and no absolutions of tax liability should be approved without the Attorney General's prior review. A tax lien totaling $14.7 million was assessed against MidPAC in June of last year. MidPAC is owned and managed by relatives of Governor Calvo. MidPAC President John Calvo has told the Guam Daily Post that MidPAC is meeting all of its tax obligations to GovGuam. Speaker Cruz, however, wrote that he has substantial reason to believe that forces within the Department of Revenue and Taxation are actively processing settlement documents which will completely absolve MidPAC's liability to the people of Guam. There are two conflicting reports on the state of the Guam Memorial Hospital's electrical panel and what kind of repairs are needed to fix it. The electrical panel is a critical piece of equipment. GMH managers have warned that its failure could force an evacuation of patients and staff at the hospital. Yesterday, the Guam Power Authority released its assessment of the electrical panel, saying it would take only $1,700 to repair it, to fix some loose connections and wipe it down for dust. GPA's report concludes that the main electrical panel does not appear to be in danger of immediate failure. The inspection revealed no visible signs of deterioration, according to the Guam Power Authority. But a separate report prepared by EMCE consulting engineers for GMH, also released yesterday, describes the hospital's electrical system as being on the verge of a major disaster. Given the current condition of GMH's electrical system, they have been lucky that no major disasters have occurred, but danger is imminent, according to the assessment signed by EMCE Senior Principal Vic Regis Jr. We'll have more news after this.
Howdy, folks. KFC's Colonel Sanders here. It's summer, and KFC has something extra special to spice it up with KFC's new Sriracha Extra Tasty Crispy Chicken. Yup, we kicked up our Pika Chicken a notch with Sriracha. Sriracha! It's spicy, tangy, and sweet. You've never had Sriracha like this before, so spice up your summer with KFC's new Sriracha Crispy Chicken. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
As we journey through 2018, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. The Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has vacated the prison sentence imposed on a South Korean tourist who became belligerent on a Korean Airlines flight to Guam in April of 2016. 44-year-old dentist Kwon Woo-sung was arrested after a drunken tirade and pleaded guilty to one count of interference with flight crew members. He has been detained on Guam for more than 2 years while he appeals his 18-month-long prison sentence. The Ninth Circuit sending the case back for resentencing, but they want a different judge to decide on the sentence because the court found that the District Court of Guam judge committed a procedural error. The appellate panel found that Guam District Court Chief Judge Francis Tadinko Gatewood erred by failing to consider the need to avoid unwarranted sentencing disparities among defendants with similar records who have been found guilty of similar conduct. Judge Gatewood said she would not consider that factor because she had never sentenced a defendant for a similar crime and need not consider similar cases. That was an error, the appellate court ruled. The Ninth Circuit Court also found that the district court's explanation for the 18-month sentence was inadequate, and they decided that another sentencing hearing should be held before a different judge. Finally, Ji-Hun Lee arrived on July 1st on Guam on a flight from Seoul, but was stopped by Customs and Border Protection agents because there was a warrant for his arrest in Nevada. Lee was brought to the Superior Court of Guam on a petition for extradition so he could be sent back to Nevada, where he faces criminal charges from 2009. Attorney David Lujan disagreed with the extradition and contacted the Clark County District Attorney's Office in Nevada and was told that if his client paid the bail, the warrant would be dismissed. Lujan explained that Nevada authorities told him it's too complicated and expensive to fly to Guam to bring him back to Nevada. Lujan called it a win-win for both sides. Lee was released from the Agana detention facility yesterday after spending 10 days in jail here on Guam. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray with weather.
Do I have to talk now? I'm looking stuff up. I'm doing research.
Okay.
I'm doing important and valuable research.
We can all take a nap then.
Mostly cloudy. I'll tell you what I'm doing in a second. It's a mostly cloudy skies, scattered showers, and isolated thunderstorms in today's forecast. Southeast winds up to 20 miles an hour, decreasing a bit after sunset. Highs today about 86 degrees. Overnight lows of about 78 degrees. Sunset tonight about 6:52. Hopefully we get a nice light show. Sunrise tomorrow morning should be about 6 o'clock. Hey, Jez De La Pena's on. Hey, sweetie. Nice to see you out there on the Facebook Live. We'll go over the cheers thing in a couple of minutes. But as we like to do in the 8 o'clock hour for second stringers like you, an idea of why the weather is the way it is right now, what it's going to be like later, and what the extended forecast looks like. So on the radar screen, with the details on what's on the radar screen, here's Michael Knight.
Yeah, and it's really cool. It's interesting to note, and you'll go between this and the satellite, and you can really see what's going on here. It looks like that the 92W, a very weak system and just a kind of a monsoon trough thing, actually looks like it's starting to consolidate to our west here, and that's really evident on the satellite picture. But looking at the radar here, looks like the latest wave of rain has moved on through and it's pulling on out. I don't see a whole lot behind that immediately, but probably by this afternoon things will start to fire up just a bit. Now, if we go to satellite, we can see...
Somebody called me yesterday and asked me if it was a typhoon yesterday afternoon, because there were some big gusts and a lot of rain coming down.
The wind started at about 10, and that's why I was out there and I was talking to the guys, and I was like, yeah, something's brewing, because the wind's just, it's not what they were forecasting.
Right.
And indeed, that's what may be happening here to our west. 92W may be getting its act together. And again, going to satellite there, you can see the blobage. That is to our immediate west. You can see that line that just moved through, and things are looking pretty healthy out there. But no threat to us other than just a few scattered showers and things. We're just keeping an eye on the activities for next week, really looking ahead to keep the watch out.
Keep an eye on things. We'll watch the maps. We'll let you know when it's time to start stocking up on Biscuitsu and Spam. It's 8:15. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
I got you. 8:15. Portions of the program brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future.
Always here to help you. This island is our home. Through the years, we've been a friend to the neighbors we have known. Now we're banking on the future. More services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
I'm sorry. Sorry. Do I want to put this one on the Facebook Live? Do I want to put this? The meme guys, the mean meme guys have been very, very active in the social media, and I got a new one here, and it's a drawing of a bus, and the wheels have come off. And all of the wheels have a different name. Maybe I'll read some of that to you a little bit later on. 8:16 in the morning. Portions of the program also brought to you by my pals at Security Title. Here's the deal: is somebody might say, "I want you to buy my house from me," and you'll go, "Okay," and you'll hand over all kinds of money to him, and then he'll go away, and then pretty soon you go, "I wonder if that guy actually owned the house." And so you call. What you do is before you hand over the money, you call Ron or Kim at Security Title and say, "Can you check and make sure that this guy has title to the house and can actually sell it to me?" Most of the time, it's yes. Every once in a while, Every once
it's
in a while.
somebody who's off island that they're just trying to.
That's why it's
That's
called,
why you need those signs for sale by owner.
Yeah, and always, there's a thing called a title lock, and one of these days I'm going to ask them about that. It's a service that you can buy online, and it's like identity theft, as people can go out, find some information, and somehow magically get your name off the title and their name on it. It's a weird thing, but that's why God made companies like Security Title, and that's why you ought to be calling them.
Sometimes a penny saved can lead to much more than a penny earned. With GPA Energy Sense rebate program, the power is yours. Earn money back while saving on your monthly power bill. GPA Energy Sense rebate program will help lower your initial costs when purchasing approved GPA energy efficient appliances and upgrades with monthly savings you can expect. For more Energy Sense saving ideas, visit GuamPowerAuthority.com or like us on Facebook. GPA, bringing energy solutions to you.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. On demand at thepoint.gu.
Ticket in at 8:18 this morning. Hi, the Ray Gibson Show. Earlier today on the Extra Point, Jerry Roberts talking about the wisdom of the bosses and things that your bosses have said to you, maybe that stick with you. If you have any recollection of those, 888-8255, or stick it up on the Facebook Live. I mean, it's, you know, and we're surrounded. We live in a world, and especially now with social media and memes and things like that. Everybody has got a phrase or a quote that they've stuck up on Facebook or something like that. Blake Watson joining me now on the program. Good morning, Blake.
Good morning. Good morning.
So and it doesn't have to be one of the Ray quotes, but I mean, bosses that you've worked with or phrases that you've heard from supervisors and superiors that have stayed with you.
When I was a kid, I worked with this dude. He was a crew chief and I say a kid, like a teenager, like early teenager. I worked construction in the summer. And he basically just gave me like the foundation, like if you're late, you're on time, all that whole big spiel. And also one thing that really resonated was pretty simple.
If you're late, you're on time?
If you're on time, you're late. Whatever that quote is.
If you're on time, you're late.
Yeah, that classic. Yeah. If you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. If you're, whatever. Anyway.
The most profound thing that a boss of mine said. Early in my career.
Yeah.
I was stuck in the production room. And I really wanted out. I really wanted to be on the air.
Yeah.
And so after...
I don't know, with a voice like that, why do you think you belonged on the air?
I have no idea. So, I've kind of just, kicked around. I kept doing my job and stuff, but it came to a point where I talked to my program director, and it was too big for him to handle because there were a lot of things going on. So we went back to the GM. Danny Fletcher was his name. By the way, he was an ex-rodeo clown. It's kind of like being an ex-Marine.
It's Texas?
Yeah. So... sat down and we were talking about how we wanted to go forward, and finally Danny just looked at me and said, "Well, Michael, what do you want?" Most profound thing a boss ever
What do
said
you
to me.
want?
What do you want?
And I had a boss who was like 79, and the phrase that he gave me, and it stayed with me forever, is this one here. It's only kinky the first time.
Yeah.
8:20 in the morning, time for sports with Blake. So France, huh?
France
and Croatia.
Yeah, Croatia. They, if you didn't know, if you have not been checking social media at all, Croatia beat England 2-1. Now, when England scored their first goal, there was a screen cap I saw on the Twitter of all the England fans in England watching it, and it was just a big, it's almost like somebody opened a giant beer can, because when they scored, everybody just threw their beer up in the air. So it was just a big spray of beer. So it's almost like somebody just opened a giant can and it went, psst, and straight up.
They still haven't been able to top the Mexicans.
No, they didn't create an earthquake or deem anybody Hermano or give anybody,
I want to see that. I want to see that picture. That's alcohol. That's actually alcohol abuse.
Alcohol abuse, yeah. But it's actually a video, so it's even cooler. But yeah, so if you don't know, France is going to be taking on Croatia for that, because that was the semifinals for the World Cup. So either way, and we knew that when Germany was bounced, but we will have a new champion this this round
So
of
what's it
World Cup.
like in England now? I mean, now that England definitely wants out of everything now because they lost. I mean, this is a major loss for them, isn't it?
It is. It's a big loss for them. Although I don't know if they will play Belgium. They'll go on to I guess for the consolation game. The third place game. England will have another game. That's going to be Sunday here, midnight on the Fox Sports network.
But if they lose that game, reports are they're going to pull everything up and move to the moon.
Yeah. So they will play yet again, but the actual World Cup, I believe. So this game will happen July 14th. Will the next consolation game, and I think the World Cup, actual World Cup final, will be sometime next week, coming to us from Russia. Here locally, we have actually this is pretty cool that I saw. This is a local tie, but not here locally, from Missouri, where a Guamanian, Trey Santos of the Gateway Grizzlies in the in the Frontier League, he outslugged some former major leaguers, former St. Louis Cardinal Rick Ankiel, to take the 2018 Frontier League Home Run Derby final. He was crowned the winner. He totaled, Ray, 32 home runs over 4 rounds.
Wow.
In Missouri. Yeah, I've got the breakdown by round. In the first round, Trey Santos hit 11 home runs. In second place was a man named Chance Shepard, who only had 5. So he almost, he lapped him. He got a pass through the first round, to the second round, I guess. He hit 10 in the second round, and then it was him and Rick Ankiel in the final round. He outslugged Rick Ankiel, former St. Louis Cardinal great, by 1 in the final round. He hit 4. Rick Ankiel hit 3. And from Guam, Trey Santos is the 2018 Frontier League Home Run Derby.
I dig that. That's perfect.
Yeah, and a little bit about that. They're entering their 26th season is the Frontier League, and they are a feeder league from 12 teams from Pennsylvania to Missouri, and they all annually advance, or a lot of players from the league annually advance into the major league organizations. They have the most of all the minor league systems. More players come from their league into the pros. So Trey Santos is definitely, and with winning the Home Run Derby, he's definitely on the right track to find himself on a pro baseball team one day.
And I guess we've got some kids that are going off to, where did I say the kids were going, the baseball team, 11-year-olds? Bakersfield, California.
Hometown of Buck Owens.
Yeah, so my friend Nietzsche's grandson, 11 years old, and it's his first trip without his parents.
Ooh.
And that's so we were talking about that earlier. So, you got memories of the first time that you got on the airplane without mom?
Yeah, it actually, I was adult? I was late teens. I was maybe 16, 17, and I had to fly with my sister back from Orlando to Miami to Dallas. And that was really the only time. My mom was, we all flew out there together. She had to stay for work, and so we had to come back home. And and actually that was a fun trip because my mom was going to be gone for the next week. So not only did we go back home without mom, we were going back to an empty house for a week. Where
I might have been in my 20s before I got on the airplane without any other adult
16,
supervision.
17.
Because when I was growing up, Uncle Jim would take Shelly and I to Japan, and I'd go with Grandma to Japan, and that was through my teenage years. And then I honestly don't recall getting on an airplane for a long time, and it might have. I
think I went like 3 years.
To Hawaii or something like in 1982, 83.
My first trip ever was to my mom announced it. I was in 7th grade. My mom was like, "Oh, I'm going to take you and your sister." It was a big deal. She was a single mom. "I'm going to take you and your sister to Hawaii." We're like, "Oh, cool," but we had never been on a plane ever. And so that was maybe like June or July is when she announced that, and she said she was taking us in September. She said, however, because our birthdays, I'm the 15th of August, my sister's the 11th of September. So right at the end of August, she said, "I'm going to take y'all down to San Antonio," which in Dallas, is a really easy, cool trip. It's maybe $100 per person at the time, and it's like a 40-minute trip. No big deal. So to get us used to the plane, she took us to a trip before the trip, just like down to Fiesta, Texas, in San Antonio.
So you know how to act when you go on.
And then about a month later, we went out to Hawaii for the first time. So that was actually my first trip ever. But my mom was nice enough to kind of give us like a training camp into travel.
All right, I got that. I was looking around for a couple of other things that I thought what might make for some interesting discussion as we pretend to talk a little bit about sports. And I thought I had the stuff in front of me, and it's not popping out right now.
Well, we do have a return, a big return to the micro games. And
did we get Troy? See if we got no answer from him. Well, his phone's off.
It was too early. The beach volleyball team and the beach volleyball event has not been implemented in the micro games in over a decade. However, Guam will be sending 4 beach volleyball members this round of 2018 Micro Games because it is back. Longtime volleyball star Tatiana Sablon.
She's awesome.
And Kiara Rojas, they will be holding down the ladies' team, while Shintaro Okada and Ryan Eugenio will be representing the men's team. All four get their training in out at the GFA. That is the soccer facility out in Harmon.
I've never seen Tatiana play there.
Really?
I'm sure she has, but that's not where I've ever seen her. I've always seen her at the beach bar.
On the beach bar. Yeah, there's and two, if you go to the sand court at GFA, it's actually way in the back, so you just wouldn't walk by it or happen upon it. If you actually want to check it out, you have to go specifically to it. It's in the very back corner. But they've been practicing out there, probably at the beach bar as well. And like I said, beach volleyball was added to the games this year after a 10-year hiatus, after the committee took an interest in the sport, in big part to Palau. Palau pushed it to get it back in. Other teams brought into the sport before officially welcoming it back into the games since the 90s, so everybody will have a team this year where they didn't before. So
I think that's a great thing. Number one, it's Guam. We have beaches here and some really, really nice ones, and I think it's a great activity. And I think, I just watched these people in these two-person volleyball games, these matches. It's just the incredible amount of hustle. So there's something obviously very healthy about all of this. So earlier in the program, I had Adonis Mendiola on the line. We were talking about the keto diet. You're familiar with
My
it?
sister's on it.
Is she?
And she's a big CrossFitter over in
And the
Texas.
lady that sits next to you in the office, Danielle, is on it as well.
Right, my work bestie Danielle is also on it.
So and now I've been around people that have gone on diets, and people can turn into total jerks when they're on diets. It's almost, but I've got to say, as I'm watching Danielle, as I'm watching some of the other people that I know on the diets, I find that they are not cranky all the time.
No, they seem more pleasant. Like my sister, who's got kind of a not so sunny disposition naturally.
Sagittarius?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. She is a lot nicer with less food and with more restrictions on what she can eat and how she can eat, and
Man, this is a diet where they encourage you to eat bacon.
It's
No
in
wonder
there.
Danielle's happy.
Oh, it's in there. Okay.
Well, that's what she had. She had bacon. I was like, wow, I smell bacon. She goes, yeah, it's my bacon. It's part of my diet. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's mine.
Okay, yeah, it's now part of my diet. So, and I'm trying to figure out whether this is a blessing or a curse. So as we were talking earlier, and anybody that knows me knows I love my beer, right? And so if there is a way that I might be able to do something, a minor change in my diet or a major change, whatever the keto is going to be determining, I will be happiest if it doesn't require me to not drink beer, right? Because I love beer, right? You guys have never seen. Well, I can't really say that, can I? I was going to say you guys have never seen me drunk. But I mean,
well, we haven't seen you that drunk.
Okay, you haven't seen, not today. But so I want to know: can you drink beer on the keto diet?
You can.
You can. But there was a warning on a website that I was looking at, and the warning is this: you'll get drunk faster.
Oh, because there's less in your system.
Whether you drink a glass of, it says, whether you drink a glass of red wine or two with your friends after work or plan to drink beer after 18 holes of golf on the weekend, following a keto diet alters alcohol's effect on your body.
Wow.
I think you ought to be able to use this to get yourself out of trouble in a court of law. When you're in ketosis, alcohol hits your system faster and stronger than it did when your body was housing more carbohydrates. Your alcohol tolerance plummets to near zero when you're in ketosis. Typically, people have plenty of glycogen stored in their bodies thanks to carb-heavy diets, which serve as a cushion for metabolizing the alcohol. Without this buffer, your body processes alcohol much faster, and you'll feel the effects sooner.
That makes sense, because when I was in my early college days, when I didn't have a lot of money and I had to make executive decisions, I would drink overeating. I would drink overeating, because if you ate and tried to have I'll get a little thing and just one beer. It's like, you're not going to feel the beer, because if you're eating, then you're putting something in to absorb it. So if you just start drinking with nothing in your stomach, it's like, I'll feel these 3 beers, as opposed to not if I chose food over drinking.
Okay, well, I guess the idea is if you're gonna drink beer, drink a low carb beer, and there's a couple of good ones on the market. My personal favorite is Heineken Light, low carb, low alcohol, low calories.
The number one that I'm seeing, the number one on this list that I'm seeing, of which we carry here on Island, there's one called Green's Trailblazer, Budweiser Select 55, and Miller 64. But we do have this one on Island, Rolling Rock Green Light. is top 4.
Where
of
do
the
you
beers.
find that?
I don't know. It's ruled.me. They have 2.4 carbs, 83 calories, and 3.7 alcohol by volume.
I'm just going to switch to rum.
So it looks like Rolling Rock and Michelob Ultra, which we can find here pretty easily, are in the top 5.
Well,
for
like I said,
keto
Heineken
beers.
Light,
And Heineken Light.
6.8 degrees of carb, 99 calories, and 3.3 alcohol by volume, which makes it, I want to say it's the lowest alcohol by volume. So if it's going to get you drunk faster, that's fine. The only problem is some places don't carry it. Miller 64, 2.8% alcohol by volume, 2.4 carbs, and 64 calories on that. But again, Miller 64. It's not one of those things that you can walk into most bars and
or
buy.
even stores. I don't even think I've seen.
I
I think it's so new, because we usually get things a few months afterwards. So I think it's so new that we just haven't. It hasn't trickled down to us yet.
So there's the possibility while you're on these keto diets and the alcohol is hitting you faster, there's a possibility that you may do some crazy things. No, I'm not going to bring up the barbecue block party thing again. I will say, in New Jersey, Bergen County, a man was arrested in Hoboken, which is, I love saying Hoboken, after police spotted a person riding on the roof of his car as it traveled down the street. Shades of Teen Wolf. The driver of the car was charged with driving while intoxicated. The car surfing buddy was issued a summons for disorderly conduct.
I ain't high, I'll tell you that, man. I don't feel nothing, man.
It's 8:33. That's Sports with Blake. I'll see you pretty soon. Headlines with Kevin Kerrigan coming up next.
Say hello to high-speed data on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. We've just upped your prepaid data, so make your big plans bigger with 1 gigabyte of data per day. Bigger prepaid data for your big plans that just keep getting better. Enjoy high-speed data and unlimited local talk and text on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. Text LTE to 3282, select a plan, and enjoy 1 gigabyte of data per day. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Incredible news day. $71 million in now, and the money ought to be in their bank account now. They probably already did the thing and made the transfer of $71 million worth of bond proceeds that went out for the Port Authority of Guam yesterday.
Congratulations to them.
Yeah. I hope that doesn't change the price of a can of Spam and a six-pack of beer and all of that stuff. It's 8:34, and headlines now brought to you by Furniture Kathy Style from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, 2 men have died after the vehicles they were driving crashed head-on in Sinahanya yesterday morning. Happened about 11:30 a.m. on Route 4 just south of the Chowat Bridge. 52-year-old Joe Blas worked for GTA and was driving a company van. 78-year-old Edward Eclavea was in his silver Hyundai Santa Fe. First responders performed CPR on each man at the scene and en route to Naval Hospital, where they were both pronounced dead. The roadway was closed and traffic diverted for nearly 4 hours while police investigated the crash and cleared the debris field. The Department of Public Health and Social Services facing cuts to its budget that will leave it unable to provide essential services, according to the latest in a series of releases from the governor's office cataloging the consequences of the sales tax repeal. Public Health's initial budget of $59 million for the next fiscal year has now been reduced to $43.5 million. Public Health Acting Director Leo Casil says that means Medicaid funding may only last up to 3 or 4 months next year. Home-delivered meals on weekends for the elderly will be discontinued, he said, along with adult daycare services, which will be scaled back, as well as reduced transportation services for the elderly. Since the Trump tax cuts took effect at the start of the year, all GovGuam agencies have been asked to reduce their budgets by 10%. Additional reductions have now been ordered in the face of what Speaker Benjamin Cruz said is a $145 million shortfall in the next fiscal year that begins on October 1st. 2 girls who ran away from the Department of Youth Affairs cottage home last Friday were recaptured. The teenagers, both 16, safely apprehended without incident on Tuesday by DYA officers. DYA says in a release they escaped through their bedroom window at the cottage home. The cottage home only meant to be non-restrictive, meaning clients there are not locked in or restrained. DYA Director Peter Atta telling the Post that there have been about 4 escapes that he can recall since December 2016 from the cottage home. The 2 teens have now been placed on room restriction status, and they face additional charges of escaping, being beyond control, and violating a court order. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
That's a good idea. It's 8:37 in the morning. The preceding newscast brought to you by Furniture Kathy Style.
Hi, this is Kathy, and I'm back in Guam ready to set off the fireworks with our 4th of July sale at Furniture Kathy Style. It's packed with fabulous furniture and prices that will blow your mind. Get 15 to 25% off store-wide or 12 months interest-free with approved credit. Our beautiful lamps are buy one, get one 50% off. Save big on hot deals like our 4-piece Ashley Sleigh bedroom set, starting at just $4.99. Stop by and see us at Furniture Kathy Style in Hagåtña.
iConnect time in the studio is 8:37. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk and mobile plans.
Circle K has just made it easier to select products that are better for you and your healthier lifestyle. When looking for items that are low carb, low sodium, low calories, low sugar, high in antioxidants, or high in protein, just look for the easy-to-spot better for you labels so you can find these items at a glance. Come by and see for yourself. It has never been more convenient to fill up on anything and everything that are better for you. Circle K. Take it easy.
It's going to end up being our last look at traffic unless something else pops up this morning. Traffic into and out of the Midtown areas, up and down Marine Corps Drive, say between Wyseng Song and Kmart, looking pretty good. The only place I think we've got a little bit of a problem is coming out of 10A in front of the airport. Traffic looks like it's slowing down there, but it should pick up just as you get past that intersection. I think it's just a line of cars trying to make that turn into the Guam International Airport. The rest of Marine Corps Drive is looking pretty good. Traffic in and out of Hagåtña, no problem. Traffic up and down Route 10 into 8, 10, and 16. It's all looking pretty good out there. Just drive carefully. Could be some rain coming into town from time to time, and a little bit of heavy weather. Just to be on the lookout for it. It's 8:39. That's right now traffic. Right now on the point.
Valley Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Valley Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Valley Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Valley Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
We're talking about phrases from bosses that might have stuck with you. Albert Eliason is reminded of the signs in his office, and the sign that reads, work 8 hours, sleep 8 hours. Just not the same 8 hours. It's brilliant. Brilliant. Hey, we got time for a cheers, don't we? It's been a while since I've said hello.
You wanna go where everybody knows your name. They're always glad you came.
Yeah. Go bring that down and let me say hello to Mike Limtiaco there. Again, we got to talk about the egg farm again with the story the other day talking about how egg prices nationwide have gone up. Odessa Palacios, Hafade Bruce Dinsman, Carlos Roman is there. And Jez De La Pena, Joe Ten, Huffa Nate Horn, nice to see you there. John Wigston, my running buddy, Commissioner Roy Gamboa, Lala Leia. I just like saying her name. I like looking at her picture, too, but I like saying her name. It's Lala Leia is there. Jody Duenas, off a day to you. Monica Pito. And Mon and I together a little bit last night over at Coast 360. They had this mixer for real estate agents. And I tell you what, a fantastic spread of food. And they dressed up Coast 360. Absolutely terrific place. And a lot of questions were answered. Tell you what, if you're thinking about buying or selling something, in particular buying something, when you start talking to your real estate agent, ask them about doing business and having the guys at Coast 360 write the paper on that. Evelyn Alagasi Trinidad, good morning to you. And Albert Eliason, if I haven't already said his name a couple of times, Ismael Veliz, and wait, there's more, Rita Hugo, Agnes Plamenco. I like that name. Tickles my tongue when I say it. Glenn Anthony Lujan. Half a day to you, buddy. What's he got to say? Good morning, Ray and Blake and Kevin and Mike. Lynn Perez. I'm happy to see you and Brad and Doris Mendiola up there. Alicia Tellou. Workout buddy. Renee Taitagui. Half a day. Rico Blancafor, who was asking, was that Kevin Kerrigan who did a spot-on impression of Chariots of the Gods author Eric von Daniken the other day? No, that wasn't Kevin. That spot-on impression of Eric von Daniken was done by the vocal contortionism that is my friend Michael Knight. Bruce Dinsman asking the question online, okay, so we're now 6 months into the Trump tax cuts. Is anybody reporting on exactly what has happened economically, or are we still wringing our hands over the dismal future? Well, if you want, I'll take care of some of that in a second. Ursul Darius Cook Jr., Mary Park, Renee Laub, and Bert Manansala. Good to have all of you online this morning. Nice to hear you on the radio as well. And we'll get into a couple of phone calls here in just a second as we make my way through the program. 888-8255. That's 888-8255. Has the economy gotten better? My read of the numbers. And I haven't downloaded the Q2 numbers from the Department of Labor to see where we are on our breadbasket. My guess is that the costs have gone up significantly. They were doing it anyway, and then the other part of this is we've got the tax hikes that we have been through here, and I think that has contributed some. I don't know that they've allowed it to work the way Trump wanted it to work. You get all of these places like Guam that immediately started freaking out about fewer dollars coming into their coffers and then making those adjustments and increasing taxes on people. And many of those tax increases have managed to virtually wipe out any gains that the Trump tax cuts might have brought to their paychecks. So I don't know that we've allowed it to work the way it should have around here. Trump in the headlines. There's some new tariffs that they've announced on China and some of the goods and services that will be coming out of that gigantic nation. He's trying to balance the trade, but many people referring to it as a trade war. I'm going to try for the third time today to bring Charlie Hermosa on the line from APL. Good morning, Charlie. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Ray. How are you?
You know what? Much better telephone connection. I think from now on we'll just wait until you're in the office before we can start talking about vital issues that affect us. As you know, virtually everything that comes to Guam is brought in on a ship, and more those ships are president lines and president named ships, and it's good for you. The question that I have, though, is we start talking about these tariffs that are being instituted and what people are referring to as a trade war. What do you think the immediate impact is going to be on shipping in general into and out of China? And then as we finish that conversation, how do you think that might impact Guam? What are your thoughts?
You know, Ray, before we get into that, I wanted to say something on a Sunday service about 2 weekends ago. The topic of discussion was making decisions off fear. So, I think we need to make sure that we clearly understand what those tariffs are really going to imply and impact, and then really make a good judgment. Because, from a shipping perspective, especially into Guam, we're constantly looking at how that's going to shift, whether it's going to originate from China or move on to other countries where the tariff charges are lower. So we're really looking at exactly what that shift is going to look like. As you know, there's a lot of stuff that are coming out of China. It goes directly into the mainland U.S. and then comes back to Guam. Mm-hmm. So we could potentially see an increase in price of the products coming back into Guam because of that, the way the logistics works coming out of China. So we just need to keep a good eye on that.
Yeah. And so let's look at that map again. Let's say that we've got some goods that are leaving Shanghai, and off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you whether or not any of those ships would ever call on Guam first. I think my recollection is most of the goods that will come out of the ports along the Chinese eastern seaboard will take a route that takes them directly to Port of Long Beach, Port of Los Angeles, up to SeaTac and places like that. They wouldn't necessarily come here first, right?
No, we actually do have routes. We do have routes that there's several carriers that come into Guam that actually move goods from China through a relay point, whether it's Hong Kong or Korea, and then over to Guam.
Really?
Yes.
How much comes off those boats and stays here?
Well, that's a good question, right? So, there's a good portion of that that's coming out of China direct into Guam, but a lot of the bigger retailer folks will relay everything through the mainland West Coast and then
Sure.
back to
And then oddly ship it back to Guam. Isn't that strange?
Correct.
Yeah, I think we see that with automobiles every once in a while, where something is made in Japan, shipped to California, and then return dropped to Guam.
That is correct.
Yeah, kind of a ridiculous way to do things, but I suppose with the I don't know, time, motion, and the ability to get into and out of the port, load and unload into the port, it makes more sense to do it with the higher levels of efficiencies on the West Coast.
Well, that and the economies of scale, right? I mean,
yeah.
when they're buying, refrigerators, they're buying in thousands of containers. So it's
impractical to pick one out from the lot here. Yeah, it kind of doesn't make any kind of sense. I did not realize that there was a whole lot of traffic coming out of China or out of Asia directly into Guam. That is kind of fascinating. But generally, it would go to the States first and then ship back to Guam. Do you see those numbers going up and down depending on the level of the trade war that we're supposed to be in?
Right now we're definitely keeping an eye on. We were originally anticipating for those numbers to go down, but we have not seen that at all. So I think we just need to kind of keep an eye on the new tariffs that were implemented. I think the new list. I think it's 100+ pages of tariff line items. So. We're just going to have to keep an eye on it for the next couple of weeks, next couple of months.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, what's your sense of timing on this? I mean, obviously, it's not like we're going to make an announcement and the world is going to stop turning today. But generally, when it comes to shipping and the kind of industrial grade shipping that takes place, for certain parts of the economy between China and the United States, is this something where we would see an impact near term, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days out, or is this something that we won't feel the true impact of? Maybe for several months, maybe a year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be several months, right? And I think most of the companies have been actually looking at this for quite some time, even when President Trump got elected. I think, he's keeping good to his promises, so I think folks are starting looking at that way back, and they have alternative solutions to that, whether it's switching and sourcing the products from a different country. Mm-hmm. So I know for a fact there's a lot of companies that have on standby other ways to source their products, whether it's raw materials, plastic bottles, cans, you name it. They're on standby to textiles. They're on standby to switch over the logistics from a different origin point.
What do you suppose then will happen once those changes become a little bit more obvious? Will there, and we won't know whether there'll be more or less, but I mean, any indications on how that might affect prices of goods that get shipped into Guam?
Yeah, well, that's going to be that's going to be a good question to see exactly how those prices are going to, obviously looking at the logistics, depending on where these origins come, that sort of plays into the shipping cost, depending on where the origin is. So, depending on where they switch over to source the products, may have an impact on the products based on the logistical pipeline that they would have to rearrange.
Now, part of the logistical pipeline is timing as well, and you guys in the shipping business know that basically your American President Line's ships become warehouses for businesses. Everybody does just-in-time ordering, and do you suppose that some of these changes that may be coming out, well, it's still time to wait and see what happens with pricing. Will that change any of the scheduling? Will as there's more or less of these cargo ships on the waters between the United States and Guam? Will they still be coming and going in about the same schedule?
Yeah, I mean, the schedules are pretty much, they will most likely stay the same. No big change. The capacity is decreasing, just sort of it fluctuates. So it's a sort of a supply and demand right now.
Yeah.
So as the capacity lessens, obviously space on the ships are going to be very, very important, and it's going to be a high commodity to get on board those ships.
Interesting conversation that we're having there, and it all has to do with the world of shipping. There are items that we like to get from the States don't actually come from the States. They're made in China or assembled out in the Asias and then distributed out to the West Coast, and then they make their way back to Guam. And the questions are, with this trade war that people seem to be somewhat concerned about, how is that going to affect our ability to get goods and services into and out of the islands? Charlie Hermosa is with American President Lines, and appreciate your time. Hey, we got to get you in the studio so we can talk about this magic that you're doing with Japan and some of the new ships that you're prowling the Pacific with. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Ray.
All right, I'll see you pretty soon. 8:51 and change. This is the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point. My name is Ray, and always a delight to get Jack on the line. Good morning, Jack.
Hey, good morning, Raymond. How you doing this morning?
You know what? I'm living the dream. Can I just say that? I'm living the dream.
Well, dreaming your head, nightmares on others.
Yeah, well, that's all right. I don't have a problem with that. If you can't compete, try to keep up, and if not, just eat my dust, right?
Yeah, and for those of you at home, if you want to know, Ray Gibson's dreams are available for pay-per-view.
Yes.
Certain channels.
Yes. There's a website. There's a website for everything, Jack.
So, anyways, about what we were discussing earlier about the tariffs and the Jones Act. When the storm went through Puerto Rico asked for the suspension of the Jones Act.
Yes.
Because of so I don't understand why our administration here why doesn't they approach President Trump and ask for an executive order for the suspension, at least temporary, or permanently, of the Jones Act. I have no idea who we have in Washington. I just don't understand.
Well, we got Congresswoman Madeline Zebradallo in Washington, and who else? We got Mike Nicholas that wants the job. Doris Flores Brooks wants the job. Obviously, Madeline wants to keep the job. Pudding is there working on behalf of the governor's office in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, so I don't understand why they couldn't piggyback off of this when the thing went through. When the problems at Puerto Rico.
Well, this is what we got to do. We got to put together and make a better argument. Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the other insular areas. We all got to get together and use the example, as you pointed out. Puerto Rico asked for, and I believe received the exemption for certain goods, certain items to be brought into Puerto Rico in the wake of their Hurricane Maria that apparently they're still suffering from. I don't think they brought in enough electrical generation equipment for these guys to get 100% power restored back to the island. Poor devils. But what we would have to illustrate here, Jack, is the fact that while there was a suspension, the world continued to turn. American shipping companies did not go bankrupt as a result of having other carriers, other flag carriers, and non-Jones Act ships providing service to Puerto Rico. And when we can make that argument better, I think then it gets easier for either executive decisions or full-blown active Congresses.
Well, while you're busy trying to form an argument, the opportunity slipped away. So, I just don't understand why, nobody did this when the opportunity first arrived.
Jack needs to run for office.
But listen, which brings us to another thing. I think Bob Cuskley's completely wrong. And I thought that thing you said about the Glock party, that was pretty funny. That was pretty funny.
It's not original. I stole that from Frank Ishizaki.
Well, listen, the LT's been getting a pounding so much that sometimes I think maybe he should be part of that Pound Me Too movement. He's just getting hammered right now.
Ooh, we should be part of the Me Too movement. Well,
I have to disagree with Bob here. I mean, I don't see how I need to mansplain this stuff. I mean, I think if Ray or the LT would have said things prior to the thing, like, here, hold my beer and watch this, I think it makes everything else that comes after that perfectly all right. I mean, he said, here, hold my beer. He made sure the alcohol beverage was out of harm's way. And he said, watch this, indicating that, what he's about to do.
I'm about to do something that some might consider dangerous and reckless.
Well, not dangerous at that moment. It may be dangerous. It may be a dumb idea, like day or two after, I think they're pretty much
Yeah.
been covered.
See, I'm in the middle again of one of these conversations. There's a problem with your phone. You're either hitting the microphone part too hard, or we're trying to compress too many voices into one signal path. Because I'm not catching everything that you're trying to say, and I can't tell if you're being tongue in cheek, Jack, or whether you are really disagreeing with Bob Klitsky's read on the situation. Bob believes that laws were broken, that there was a technical assault on the officer, that there was a firearms violation, and that there was reckless conduct. You disagree with those points?
Okay, well, I know. I can hear that it's like muffling, like knocking on the water or something.
Yeah, that happens every once in a while. There are a lot of people are on cell phones right now. I think that's it.
Yeah. So, anyways, I wanted to ask you this question. This brings us up to how do you think what do you think about this idea? Remember Matt Rector?
How could I forget?
Yeah, how he got busted because he went to go get a gun permit.
Yes.
And the story came out from California.
Yes.
I think we should include this for our election process. I think anybody that's running for office should be required to get a gun permit. I mean, it's another vetting instrument that we could use to our benefit. I look at the list of candidates right now. I don't know half of them, and we know GEC has problems with their vetting process, and to trust the parties to vet their candidates, I mean, it's a hit or miss.
We asked for personal financial details, and we can receive those. We can ask about campaign finances, etc. I don't disagree. It would be interesting for everybody to go line up and see what the results of an FBI clearance would find.
Well, Bob and I had this discussion a couple of years ago. Apate comitate. In other words, because of the small police forces in some areas, politicians were allowed to be, arrest people and things like that in their jurisdiction, and they were allowed to carry firearms. And I'm not saying that we should arm our politicians, but at least with the permit, it's a vetting thing, because I don't know half of these people on this list. I mean, they may have transplanted from the States or something.
Oh, I off the air, I'll identify at least two people that I consider certifiable nut jobs.
But
and I may not wait until you and I are in a private conversation. I might just say it on the radio. There's a couple of people on this list that I seriously have got doubts about their their mental capacities.
But you saw what brought down Matt Rector. It was when he went because his ego got to him, and somebody floated the idea that he should go get a gun permit, and he went and did it, and he thought he was clear, and he wasn't, right?
And then we found out he was an idiot in his prior life, and that was the end of that. But that created an incredible amount of drama that made talk radio a not-miss entity in this town. That was Matt was fun, but fortunately we've got Gary Gumatautal running, Frank Gumatautal, and Doug Moylan running for the Attorney General's office. That, I think, will restore the fun. I got to run because it's 9 o'clock, Jack. I'll talk to you pretty soon. The radio station is KUSG Agana. 93.3 is the point. Here's Fox News.
I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump ruffling feathers at the summit, taking aim at Germany for its ties to Russia.
Opening the first morning of the NATO summit, President Trump held back nothing, ripping Germany for its deal with Vladimir Putin to buy Russian gas.
We're supposed to protect you against Russia, but they're paying billions of dollars to Russia, and I think that's very inappropriate. Ultimately, Germany will have almost 70% of their country controlled by Russia with natural gas. So you tell me, is that appropriate?
The so-called Nord Stream pipelines will carry Russian natural gas directly to Germany. President Trump today argued Germany will have to rely too much on Russian energy, a threat to Germany's major role in NATO.
Fox's John Roberts in Brussels, but the two appear to smooth things over later in the day, with President Trump and Angela Merkel chatting in a friendly manner before a dinner with alliance leaders this evening. Days after being pardoned by President Trump, two Oregon ranchers convicted of setting fire to public lands are back home. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal has this live.
Lisa, Dwight and Steve Hammond arrived back in Oregon today, getting out of prison after the president pardoned them. The ranchers had served brief sentences for arson, starting a fire on federal land in 2012, but prosecutors appealed those short sentences and they were ordered back to prison in 2015. That motivated Cliven Bundy's sons, Ammon and Ryan, to take over that wildlife refuge in Oregon for 41 days in 2016. They were demanding changes to federal land management policies.
And one of the things that they don't want to see is a continual, almost persecution, overzealousness against Western ranching families.
Hammond's attorney, Morgan Philpott, says they'd like to start a dialogue now with ranchers, policymakers, and politicians, Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Sometimes a penny saved can lead to much more than a penny earned. With GPA Energy Sense rebate program, the power is yours. Earn money back while saving on your monthly power bill. GPA Energy Sense rebate program will help lower your initial costs when purchasing approved GPA energy efficient appliances and upgrades with monthly savings you can expect. For more Energy Sense saving ideas, visit GuamPowerAuthority.com or like us on Facebook. GPA, bringing energy solutions to you.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
A threat of contempt of Congress against former FBI lawyer Lisa Page, who refused to appear before the Judiciary and Oversight Committees today. Her lawyer claiming they needed more time to prepare.
The House Judiciary and Oversight Committees sent this letter that lays out 3 options. FBI lawyer Lisa Page can show up tomorrow at a public hearing with her former lover and colleague, Agent Peter Strzok, give a closed-door deposition Friday, or face more legal trouble.
Fox's Catherine Herridge in Washington. Page and Peter Strzok are under scrutiny as the investigation into bias at the Justice Department continues. The two exchange anti-Trump text. Strzok is scheduled to publicly answer questions later this week. The Navy will now allow service women to wear ponytails and other longer hairstyles, reversing a policy that didn't allow it. Chief of Naval Operations Admiral John Richardson says it makes the Navy more inclusive. The lead singer of an 80s pop band accused of sexual assault.
Duran Duran lead singer Simon Le Bon is accused of grabbing a woman's private parts in 1995. USA Today reporting the woman is not filing a lawsuit or seeking any money, but wants the singer to own up to the assault, noting it was the release of the Access Hollywood tape where the now president talks about grabbing women and getting away with it because he's a celebrity that made her go public. She states, "I decided that time's up. I'm not holding the secret anymore. I want everyone to know what this man did to me. I hope he comes clean publicly." An attorney representing the woman said her client came close to a sit-down with Le Bon in recent months, but Le Bon changed his mind. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
A Delaware judge approving a revised plan for the sale of the Weinstein Company, the studio forced into bankruptcy by the sexual misconduct allegations against its co-founder Harvey Weinstein. The revised plan calls for a Dallas-based private equity firm, Lantern Capital, to pay $289 million for the company's assets, down from an initial sale of $310 million. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Say hello to high-speed data on the widest 4G LTE network in the Mariana. We've just upped your prepaid data, so make your big plans bigger with 1 gigabyte of data per day. Bigger prepaid data for your big plans that just keep getting better. Enjoy high-speed data and unlimited local talk and text on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. Text LTE to 3282, select a plan, and enjoy 1 gigabyte of data per day. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
I got to talk again? It's me on the radio. Time right now, portions of the program, as a matter of fact, brought to you by APL. American President Lines. Charlie and the boys are shipping the future.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back.
Chili's Rib Fest is back. You can get saucy with their fall-off-the-bone, slow-smoked half-rack of ribs for $10.99. Available in original, roasted garlic, or honey chipotle flavors. Served with home-style fries. Add an additional half-rack of ribs for just $7. Low and slow is the key to more more flavor. Chili's Rib Fest for $10.99. Available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
Ray Gibson brings you closer to the action. Morning talk that matters. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Six after 9 o'clock in the morning. Hi, day. How are you doing? And so far, a pretty good Thursday. This week has gone by pretty quick, hasn't it? You recognize it. Tomorrow is going to be Friday. And I'm looking at probably the toughest part of my day is now done. Actually, the hardest part of my day is waking up in the morning, and then after that, everything is fairly easy. But once I'm out of bed and moving around, and certainly once I get in here, for me mentally, that's where the fun starts. So another hour of the program, and then I got some other goofball work I got to take care of, but in the back offices of the radio station, and then I'll continue on with what the rest of my Thursday is going to be looking like. And if it is anything like my Wednesday, it'll be pretty interesting. I'll tell you why. Because yesterday was the day of the memes. And if you don't know what a meme is, I don't know. It's hard for me to describe either. But you know all those funny pictures that people put together online and stick them on social media, and there's a picture of Ray Tenorio doing this, or BJ Cruz saying that, or anymore. There's some real clever guys that are using a thing called Mad Libs, where they come up with like a scene, and you can put in your own words. You can put in your own conversation and kind of mix it up, so you get these cartoon characters basically talking in your voice. So, yeah, we do.
Sounds like something I need to find.
No, Mad Libs, I think, is the place. So look for that. I mean, I think it will be more fun than you trying to figure out what your emojis are going to be doing.
I'll forget
your
that I have
Bitmojis.
a job. I'll just...
No, I think that's what people did.
Yeah.
So what I was doing yesterday, and I didn't volunteer for it, but what would happen is I would be getting these memes sent to my WhatsApp, and then I'd send them out to somebody else. So this is what I'm thinking about doing. Is either putting together a Facebook page with all of these memes, or one of those WhatsApp groups. And we just, every time I get a new meme, I just
pop it in,
press the button, and do the broadcast to everybody, because I think that's a whole lot of fun. All right, Facebook Live, folks like Nick Perlowski going, I'm afraid that if we let all these foreign shipping companies come to Guam, that the island might capsize. You know what? I don't know. People like to get into these conversations about the Jones Act, and I will point out that probably one of the longest running and most expensive court cases I think we've ever had in the history of Guam long-running court cases might have been ones with the shipping companies against the actual government of Guam to do something about the Jones Act. You remember that one there lasted an awful long time. And what did we learn from it? After all of those years, it didn't make any difference. We spent a lot of money. A bunch of lawyers got rich. And we still have the Jones Act to contend with. Some say that if we abolish or eliminate the Jones Act here on Guam, then that would open up the market to all kinds of low-cost shippers. Wouldn't have to worry about cabotage, any of that nonsense. We'd be able to get guys in from every different corner of the world with every different kind of ship. And if you don't like the price that you got from Company A or Company B, then you call these guys up and start working on some kind of a bargain. But you might even be able to do that now, because there's a couple of big players in the game now, right? You look under shipping companies, you'll find a couple of big players. And my understanding is, like any other game that we've got, is they'll deal. And if you like negotiating, if you like the power of the deal, then see if you can put it to work with these guys, because my spidey sense tells me that for every rate card that is out there, there's a whole nother world of pricing that you might be able to negotiate for yourself, and sometimes for the benefit of for the privilege of how about prepayment? Some people will negotiate on that. Some about the long-term contract. I will only ship with you for a year. And sometimes that'll get you a break on the shipping. But anyway, so that's part of it, is the idea that there would be more competition for the players that we've got out here. On the other hand, some people say, well, gee, just look at the map. And if you draw a string from a port in China to a string in the port of Los Angeles, it would generally be shorter than drawing a string from a port in Shanghai to Guam and then to Los Angeles. And is it going to be worth it for any company to stay here in the game? Might be that Guam might be just too far out of the way, is an argument that I have heard in support of the Jones Act. It doesn't do a whole lot for prices. It does require that folks stick around here. This is fun. So, you know who I wanted to give some time to is gubernatorial candidate Dennis Rodriguez. And we tried a couple of times to get a hold of him, and no answer, right? Yeah, so I sent Pretty Ashley a note. I said, hey, we're trying to get a hold of your dad. And she's like, yeah, so are we.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, so
he needs to clean his voicemail up.
Everybody needs,
as do many of our politicians
Well,
who don't want to take calls anymore.
Yeah, here's the thing on that. See, I got voicemail on my Gizmo as well, and I should probably change the greeting. And the guy that taught me this is actually Troy Torres. That taught me this. I should probably change the greeting that says, "Don't leave a message. I don't check." So I'm the guy. I'm that guy. When I see your number on as a missed call, I'll call you back.
Yeah,
maybe
I will if I know who you are. But I'm.
I think it depending on who you are, because there's some people that go, this is going to be a half-hour conversation that I'm never going to get the time back on, and it will be somebody. It's the equivalent of pooping on my desk. They're going to call me up and ask if I can do them a favor, and so number one, yeah, maybe not. Send me an email, RayGibsonShow@gmail.com, and that will be fun to play around with. But anyway, so the reason why I want to talk with Dennis, Rodriguez Cruz, the only team to offer real, detailed solutions. And the Rodriguez Cruz team has offered up the following cost-saving measures and will employ these cost cuts when elected to office. They anticipate that they could chip away, are you ready for this? $51 million worth of expenses in the government of Guam. How do we do that? The new cabinet and elimination of agencies will go from 52 agencies to 9, get rid of directors and deputy directors, and save $10 million. GPD overtime. They don't need them for executive security detail because this is Guam, and Dennis Rodriguez is a master of kung fu. So he'll be able, and you figure Dave, right? Dave was an Army guy, right?
He can legally kill you.
He could, with a karate chop to the throat.
Yeah, and get away with it.
In the end of Billy Jack, remember?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no, wait. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to give him superpowers.
Oh, nice.
Roadhouse.
Oh, okay.
The fight scene from Roadhouse.
Yeah.
The Patrick Swayze is David Cruz, or David Cruz is the Patrick Swayze guy, and anybody that wants to pretend to be badass comes up to him. You got to be prepared to die like the guy, like the villain in Roadhouse.
In Roadhouse, yeah.
I blank tougher guys than you in jail.
Nice.
I remember that. I was on a date. I took a date to go watch that movie, and I think she about vomited at the thought of that. What? Yes. Joey Choffer is saying, what? Dennis, Kung Fu? And Roy Gamboa saying, Dave's an Air Force guy. Army, Navy, Air Force, but they're all the same, aren't they? I'm just trying to put a smile on my face. And if I'm lucky, it'll go off on YouTube. Lay off political hires of the Calvo Tenorio administration and hold the line on filling vacant positions. They believe that they can save $10 million just by doing that. I don't know why we gotta wait. We can start. Imagine how much we could save if we did it now. All kinds of just the whole special assistant. I think maybe what we've got to do once upon a time in our lives is look at the category of employment referred to as special assistant and just abolish that as a position. And so if you've got a job that needs to get done, let's say what this job is. Let's call it what it is. You are not my special assistant.
Right.
You are a producer. And there is a clearly defined set of responsibilities for which you were compensated a clearly defined yet low number of dollars, right?
It's not bad.
It's not terrible. So that's the idea. And so here's the thing. Instead of having a special assistants, and the salaries can run from $35,000 a year all the way up to $70,000 a year, what do? I don't know what they do. They're special assistants. Every job gets a title, and every title gets a job description. And that's it. It seems to me that's it. That way, when we look at these names, when we look at these positions that say special assistant $45,000 or special assistant $70,000 a year, then we've got at least an idea of what it is that they're talking about.
You're messing up my
mojo
here, bro.
Sorry, Mr. Mojo.
Yeah.
TAF contracts would ask the legislature to transfer $10 million from the hotel occupancy tax collections to the general fund, cut the contracts associated with the tourist attraction fund to $10 million, including local marketing, IDIQ, and others. Most functions of these eliminated contracts will be absorbed by the IRD. And I don't know what the IRD is here. Somebody's going to, Dennis, you're going to have to tell me what that is. Travel. No travel on local funds. Savings $1 million. Power conservation. Starting with the governor's office, the line agencies will conserve energy by shutting off air conditioners, reducing other energy consumption, and immediately converting to solar power, saving at least $5 million in power costs annually. So, this probably has been tried a couple. In fact, I know it's been tried a couple of times. And there were places in the Department of Education, you might recall, I do, and everybody said, hey, how about on the weekend, when it gets to be Friday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, kids are gone, classroom's clean, and let's turn off the air conditioners. There were some guys in maintenance at the Department of Education, and you'll remember it as soon as I say it. There were guys in the Department of Education that said, don't turn the air conditioners off. We're not sure that they're going to come back on. I am absolutely, totally, and 100% serious. There were people that said they're just on their last legs, and if we turn them off, there's the possibility that when you press the button on the remote control, it ain't coming back. See, and that's what happens when you buy junk, by the way. That's what happens when you buy junk. Pop always said it only costs a little bit extra to go first class. And on things like that we rely on, that we need to rely on, I'd buy something with a name as opposed to something that you got at the absolute lowest price because they were being dumped by the manufacturers in China in order to sell a whole lot more and prevent anybody from buying actual name brand products.
Like the shirts that I keep buying at Kmart. Did you see the brown one? How it was coming apart, like in a weird place, like up here at the top of the collar?
Only buy clothes from Bix.
I guess.
Yeah, because I got to say that because Bix my classmate.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. 888-8255-919 in the morning. My name is Ray Gibson. And look, my Uncle Phil Flores is on the phone. Hey.
You know, we don't refer to him as Bick. We refer to him as the Prince.
The Prince.
Yes.
I had no idea. He and I were classmates from a long, long time ago in the clothing business, and I might be one of a handful of people that actually know him by his real Indian name.
Which is?
Gurvinder.
Oh, that's why he calls himself Bick.
Could be. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Actually, I'm having dinner. We're on the same golf club, Nunu.
Okay.
Lunch host having dinner tonight, and the Prince will be there.
Well, tell him I said hello. I haven't seen him in it feels like 100 years. But whenever we do see each other, it's like we haven't missed a beat. Same as your relationship with me. So I'm calling about a Rubbish Man thing.
Yeah, I sold out. There's no more left, but I'll see if I can get some more. It's so weird, Yeah, because I got a call, and actually it was from Kevin.
Yeah.
And I just come out of a meeting. He said, can you tell me about the cocaine at Rubbish Man? I said, wait a minute. I don't know anything about it. So I said, well, let me look at my other missed calls. And there was a couple of calls from Rubbish Man. I said, okay, I'll get back to you. And, yeah, somebody put it in a garbage can. The can got picked up, and it got dumped on our tipping floor. And, voila, there's something that looks a little strange. So the police came out, the Mandanian Task Force, and, of course, they have everything in order in what they're doing. And, they took it away. They confirmed that it was cocaine. So the idea is, how did it get into a garbage can? And
Well, somebody put it in the garbage can.
yeah, and maybe, I'm not a I'm not a detective or investigator or anything like that, but I'm thinking maybe I had it and I was leaving it for somebody to pick it up, so I walked down the street and I put it in somebody else's garbage can, and so was supposed to come and pick it up, and in the meantime, boom.
Yeah.
The truck came.
Rubbish man came by doing his job, keeping the island clean, and then all of
It wasn't one of our trucks. I mean, I can't. I'm hesitant to tell you whose truck it was, but it was not our rubbish.
Well, I want to ask questions, but I also recognize that there is an investigation going on, and the less that the crooks know about the capabilities of the guys on the Rubbish Man floor, who picked it up, where it was possibly picked up, you know, what kind of route information or route surveillance is kept. I kind of don't want to ask you those questions because I don't want to otherwise empower these guys to know just how close the Mandania task force might be to them.
Yeah, and plus there'll be fingerprints on it.
I guess.
Some of them will be ours, but you know, if the guys working the floor, they're wearing gloves. But some of them will be ours because we handled it.
Yeah.
But there'll be prints on it, and
I mean, is that the craziest thing that you guys have found on the tipping floor? I mean, it was once upon a time you just put trash in a truck and it found its way to ORDOT and nobody else bothered to look at it. But in these cases, there's we actually open the bags and start sorting trash and checking on recyclables and all of that.
I think that when we started doing the transfer station publicly, I mean for GSWA or GTB to take it down to Lejean. We had to put monitoring stations in for radioactive material, and the first time that went off, it was, we went bonkers, and it turned out to be medical waste. And but we didn't know, what do we got here? So that was, and now that's it. It's not typical, but it's not atypical. And when it happens, we're cool that we know what to do, we know who to call. One time we picked up a what looked like ordnance, like a bomb. Actually, not even ordnance, an IED. And we're looking at it, and we go, whoa, get away. And then we call the police, and it turned out to be, how would I call it? It turned out it was fake. And it was basically used for training purposes.
Yeah.
And somehow it got into a big computer yard, a 6-yard can, and a cubic yard can, and we picked it up and we dumped it and we thought it was live. So everybody came in the bomb squad and they said, it's okay, it's fake. But those are the two that stand out most in my mind.
But like body parts, is that like money? Have you found caches of money at all? Because that kind of thing.
No, I go find that myself.
You got the old Bank Pacific thing. Got that's a different part of the job. I get it, and so.
But this is, I mean, I don't know what cocaine costs nowadays, but 5 pounds is a lot of cocaine. And for somebody just, unless they were just so messed up mentally, they threw it in their own garbage, and then somebody took the garbage out and put it into the can. I mean, I don't know.
For years, my old man kept his service revolver in the bottom. He kept it in a paper bag in the bottom of the trash can. And the idea was that's probably the last place a thief is going to look for anything. So it's possible that maybe somebody thinking along the same lines, somebody might break into the house and they'll find my stash. But if I hide my stash in the trash can, nobody will find it. And then all of a sudden, somebody else in the house is deciding to be a do-gooder and takes the trash can and empties it out for us. Hey, buddy, I emptied your trash, and before too much longer, somebody comes by and picks it up. So it's possible that something like that might have occurred.
Yeah. While we're talking about your dad, that was a real nice memorial the other day, and your father was a very, very special person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll never get tired of hearing people say that about my dad.
Yeah.
And special man. Can we get back a little bit more, not so much on the cocaine business, because like I said, I mean, part of it is I want to ask you all kinds of questions to figure out what the capabilities are, and it's not like the old days where, it's just the trucks go out kind of at random, pick up trash and at random drop it off someplace. I think it's a little bit more of a sophisticated, timed process. But like I said, I don't necessarily want to play too much of the Mondañez task force hand as we do this. So let me ask you a few other questions about just kind of life in general here on Guam. What are your thoughts on the Glock party the other night, and how do you suppose that that's going to affect Phil, also a member of the Republican Party like myself, and what are your thoughts about the ability to retain Adelup past the primary and the general?
Well, you mentioned I am a member of the Republican Party twice in the past year, so I am a dyed-in-the-wool Republican. Of course, my grandfather was a former governor, and we were just all. I was born a Republican. I'll die a Republican. Yeah. So I put it, but I don't think it was very good for Lieutenant Governor, and he recognized that and came out yesterday, accepted responsibility. Very, very well done on his part, and it's in the middle of a campaign. You got to just act a little bit more like it's in the middle of a campaign. I don't think it. I expect him to be in Adelup in January, and this is kind of a kick in the head. But it's he's a good guy. You knock him down, he's going to get right back up and keep going. Yeah. Okay. Well, and so you think that's what's going to happen, and if folks are going to accept the apologies and accept that he has accepted responsibility for all of this, and put it behind us as just a terrible mistake, and move forward from it. Yeah, and I think we're in the 24/7 news cycles. We like to say it's already yesterday's news, and which means it'll be on the street for a few more days. Yeah. Well, there's a couple of other shoes that need to drop. It's over at the Attorney General's office, and based on what they do or do not do with it, that will determine, I think, what the next steps need to be. But you think that so far Ray has handled the mess appropriately? I think yesterday he did a masterful recovery. The first couple of days, it just wasn't looking good, and I think there were probably some people who were on his side who were not happy with it. But in any case, he came around, and I think he's going to win the election. He's certainly going to win the primary, and I think he's going to win the general. What do you think? Who do you think on the Democrat side? It also helps that you have a master politician, a master strategic thinker, I think, and have been around the block a couple of times and watched some elections many times. There are 4 people running for the position of governor on the Democratic side. Now, to the degree that we have any intel at all on what's going on with the Democratic Party of Guam, what do you think is going to happen in the primary election? Which do you think is going to be coming in first place and will take on Ray for the general? Yeah, so I'm not so much sure I'm an expert or master strategist. I'm more of a political junkie. Okay. I don't know. Of course, Lou and Josh are out there full on with marketing, and I was told she was waving the other day. Yeah. I think by Turtle Cove or something, somewhere down there. And I just saw Fred Verdayo. I had a nice chat with him this morning over at Hava Java when we were both getting some coffee. Mm-hmm. He seems upbeat. He says, I said, I know you guys have a strategy. The governor is one of the smartest politicians there is. What are you guys doing? And he says, we're staying above the fray. We're staying clean. So they're working behind. And Frank Ogden and Alicia, I think between Frank and Lou, they're the ones who are most visible out there. Dennis, I'm not quite sure what's going on over there. I know a lot of people were not happy with the fellow who he brought in from the Philippines. I think even Talina said, Senator Nelson says, no, he shouldn't be meeting with us. Yeah, he's going to have to live with that. We had an interview with him, and he was talking about that before. And then of course, there's the swats that he made against the banking and the insurance industry during the fiscal crisis. I think that cost him a lot of support there. Which he still is making, even in one of today's papers. And I think his refusal to disassociate himself with a certain staff member isn't helping him either.
You know, and to the degree that that was interesting to me as recently as the other night, when I saw Troy take out swear out the complaint against Senator Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio at the police department, there was a part of me that thought, okay, that's appropriate if it's part of Troy's revenge tactics, but is it also a strategic move on behalf of the campaign that Troy is working with?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on the latter.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was kind of interesting to me. All right, so it's still too early to call. I mean, have you seen any research that would indicate that any of the four parties have got a leg up over the other? Or as I've characterized it with another political watcher, is this a race not to come in last? Maybe, I don't know who's going to win the damn election. I just know I don't want to come in last place.
You know, and that's really interesting because there's I think the independent swing voters and I'll call them independent Democrats are probably more swayed to go with Lou or with Frank. The really dyed-in-the-wool grassroots Carl will always have them, and I'm not sure what Dennis is going to get. But if the three of them, Dennis, Frank, and Lou, take the bulk of or they split the bulk of the independent, and then there's that pot out there of grassroots that is larger than any of those 1/3. Boom, there's Carl, and I'm sure that's what he's hoping for.
Yeah, well, I think that's the way a number of people might have characterized it. I think Dennis might be able to pull in some of the Filipino voters that have been traditionally loyal to Carl and folks that he has run with in the past.
Yeah, and I think Frank has a pretty good relationship with a lot of the Filipino community too. I mean, he's been working it for a long time, and so yeah, that'll all be split. But you're right, Carl is very strong in the Filipino community, and Dennis will naturally get a large part of the Filipino community.
Got that Rodriguez last name. Let me just a couple more questions because I know you're busy and because running the bank and everything. And so we get
background. I got the Giants and the Cubs on.
Just semi-retired. Hey, did Mark Fish retire finally?
Mark retired May 31st.
Okay.
And he and Vicky are probably going to be leaving the island around the first week of August, moving to Wisconsin. And he's a great guy, and we're still in touch. He's still a member of the bank's board of directors.
Cool.
So he says, I'll be back. I said, yeah, you'll be back when it's minus 20 degrees.
Yeah, in Wisconsin. Come right back to Guam. Is the next 777 out here.
Yeah, it's exciting. He's having another grandchild in December. So
that's awesome.
Happy.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, last thing before I let you go, then, is what's your view on the economy here on Guam? I mean, you're a banker and you've been watching the game for a number of years. Are we making any headway around here? Are we moving ahead, or are we just kind of holding our breath and treading water?
I don't want to sound like a jerk, but I look at myself more as a business person, and a bank just happens to be one of our businesses.
Yeah.
That really sounds bad, but that's what it is. We run basically 13 different businesses in the region, and I think the economy is okay. I can see the closings of residential mortgages down about for year to date or through June. It's about 20% down from last year. That, as we talk amongst ourselves in the banking community, we relate that to the lack of H-2 workers, and it's great that they got them behind the gate for military buildup, but it really sucks for the rest of the community, for the people outside the gate, the ones who pay the taxes and such. So construction is down. Actually, our companies are, knock on wood, are doing okay. Some of them are indicators, and one of them is the trash company. If economy's bad, actually people, they cut back on their consumption and they cut back on their trash. That hasn't happened. That had happened a few years ago for a while, but it's not doing any more. On the laundry side, Simon's numbers are really good.
Well, the numbers ought to be up like crazy because all of your laundry businesses, everybody is washing the sheets twice because the Koreans are staying in the hotel rooms for shorter periods. So no, I'm serious. As my understanding is the cost of linen service in some of the hotels has gone up astronomically because you get these guys, they stay for a night, maybe two, and then go check in someplace else. So that's doubled the number of hard turnovers on the hotel rooms, and and so everything's got to go out. The towels got to go out. The sheets got to go out. The pillowcases got to go out. They go to your place. So yeah, I can see where that business might be cranking right now.
Yeah, well, actually, we don't do sheets anymore. We don't do room divisions, but we do F&B. But because when the time was bad, if you had two beds in a room, only one bed was being used, and then they take the top sheet, make it to the bottom sheet, so you change one sheet per day. But yeah, right now I get it's much different because I do know Pacific Laundry is very busy. We have laundries have a good relationship too, and we just bought 2 new hearse. And they're both Suburbans. We bought the 2 Suburbans and convert them into Hearst, and they're nice.
So the funeral business is doing Our Lady of Peace is doing all right as well.
That company does well, and I remember, golly, my daughter was about 8, and we were still doing trick or treat, and so one Halloween, I borrowed one of the hearses from the company and drove around, and I had a Freddy the 13th or whatever that mask is.
Yeah.
And drove around them itself. It was pretty fun.
That's crazy. See, you want to talk about privilege, right? You earn the stuff. At 9:36, it's always incredible talking with you. I'm glad that we've got some time on the radio, and I appreciate your thoughts on the economy and rates in Oreo and business in general.
Yeah, I think the island's going to do all right. The drugs, we got to kill the ice and the cocaine, and that's what I think are the scourges right now.
I'm with you 100%, and I think we would do a better job with it if we had some judges. Number one, if we weren't striking so many plea deals, number one, and number two, if we didn't have any judges that fell for every single sob story that came across their gavel, because they're letting far too many dealers out out from under the punishment, and I think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, I'll go back to a story about 30 years ago, and this is banking business where when someone has their delinquent, we call them, we write down what the reason. And we had this one guy from Talfofo whose father died twice in 3 years.
Oh.
I mean, the sob stories,
Exactly. The baby's sick. I'm the only caregiver for mom. All of those things. You should have thought about that before you picked up a life of crime. Phil, I'll talk to you pretty soon.
Okay, thanks.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. You're far busier and important guy than I am. It's 9:37 in the morning, and we'll call that iConnect time. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk and mobile plans.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumama. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
As we journey through 2018, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
Have you ever done a job that you really didn't want to do and you didn't end up doing your best work? I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, I've got a story that hits home for all of us because we've all been there.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at GuamTraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
My buddy Roy is asking, I think everybody, before it gets nuts, please ship a container of Meiji chips before they end production. This was the other social media controversy and dust up and flare up, and I became aware of it recently. And honestly, those Meiji cheese puff things,
yeah,
I don't really like them.
Okay. Right on. That's fair.
But I am upset that they're not going to make them anymore.
Because a lot of other people like them.
Yeah, well, no, it's one of those things. It's not the one that I reach for. It's not my go-to crunchy kind of savory snack.
But it's been part of your life.
But it's always It's always been there for me to ignore or pick up whenever I needed it.
That's right.
And I want people to stop screwing with my childhood and my early adult years and taking all of the things I like and say, well, I guess we can't make any money on. What do you mean? How can you not make money on that? It's a cheese puff, and it's good, and it's got the little curve thing. And we've raised 2 kids on them, at least in my house. And thinking about all the other kids that we played around with, I mean, how many babies on Guam were given those just as their initial foray, the gateway to the rest of their happy junk food lives?
Yeah, their first real food. Yeah.
And number 2, it's from Japan. All snacks, by definition, from Japan are superior to anything else in the world.
Sure.
And the Meiji brand of chips, awesome. Meiji brand of chocolates. I've been a fan of the Meiji chocolates for years. And I'll make the point again that I like my beer. And when I get on an airplane and they say, "Can I get you a drink, Mr. Gibson?" the answer is always yes. I'd like a Japanese beer.
Yeah. Nice.
Because I like their brewing process. There's always a very crisp, clean taste to the Japanese beers.
Until I got here, I'd never actually had them. And then I tried the Asahi, and I'm like, man, where is this?
This is all it's all I want. I want that for breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh, put that in my milk.
Even if
my
it is
cereal.
a little radioactive, it's still cool.
No, it's all the good stuff. I don't know. So it's one of those things where, I get that there's going to be some people that are anxious about it. And maybe this is another one of those kind of marketing occurrences. And you might be going, what do you mean one of those kinds of marketing occurrences?
Remember New Coke?
I remember New Coke, but that's not where I was headed. Thank you, though, for bringing it up.
Yeah.
I remember Clear Pepsi. No, you didn't like that?
Why bother?
Well, I thought it was all right. Yeah. I thought it was all right. It's like Fresca or something.
No, that was good. Fresca.
Fresca and gin. Sorry. Hey, welcome to the small talk portion of the program. So anyway, it's the Meiji chip. Yes, Joey Charver says they're stopping Meiji. Yes, no more of those chips out here, and I don't know what to do about it. Joey's also suggesting that, I'm telling you, Ray, we need to follow Saipan's lead and start our own casino and have it heavily regulated and monitored the way they do in the CNMI. Or at least the way they're allegedly doing it in the CNMI. I don't want to stand here and make any claims because somebody's getting sued for it, right? One of the big journalism outfits are getting sued for some allegations that they made a little bit too firmly about the people that are running the casinos. Look, I'm okay. Can I just say this? I don't have a problem with casinos. I'm not a gambler. I've never gambled because I don't ever believe I've ever had enough money to lose.
Right.
And so it's not my. If you want to gamble, I don't want to get in your way.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in your way. If you want to smoke marijuana, I don't want to get in your way. Just don't get in a car after you've smoked marijuana, and don't be a jerk when you're stoned and being on marijuana. I'm okay with whatever it is that you want to do with your life, as long as it doesn't bother me. What I also don't like is the hypocrisy of people saying, "Oh yeah, casino is bad." What do you call all of those game rooms? And gambling is gambling, right? So we either are a gambling town or we're not a gambling town. And to say that we're not a gambling town and we don't support casinos, but hey, cousin is spending all night over at the game room down the street, of which there are plenty of them in this town.
Open 24
in my
hours.
Mind, that is a serious breach of moral consistency.
I agree.
So no, argue with me. I want to get into the scrap here, because I don't have a problem with the casinos, and there is no good casino rule regulation that we're ever going to be able to write that is going to prevent the do-gooders around here from trying to pick a fight and say it's not. There are guys here that are okay with casinos that just didn't like the way we set up the rules and regulations at the time, and that's what people were voting on. It wasn't gambling. It wasn't necessarily a referendum on gambling as much as they were referendums on the way that we would pilot and then manage these casino entities here on Guam. How do you want to do it? How many licenses do you want to have? What are the costs of that? What's the gambling commission going to look like? Who's going to sit on that? How do we ensure that it does not become a magnet for the Yakuza or the Mafia, La Cosa Nostra, coming out here and taking over the island and bringing in more vermin crime?
Going to say, is it possible that that was the factor behind it not being passed? People worried about there be too much crime and too much bureaucracy added on to what we already have.
We don't need, and so we don't need so much of the bureaucracy. Somebody has got to keep an eye on things, and you can put together a gambling commission, and they can go around and pretend to keep everybody honest and forthright, and make sure at the end of the day, as Joanne would say, that the government of Guam gets its fair share, which we're not even doing now with the gaming that we do have. So, right. But getting back to, I don't have a problem with casinos. I think they're fantastic. People will get jobs, and there's all kinds of jobs to be had. The wiring of the IT in a casino is, oh my God. How about this? Surveillance cameras. All of the security that you're going to need to have, and just the plant maintenance in what is essentially a casino. Oh my God! Can you imagine the number of jobs that would come along with all of this? Of course, Phil Flores is right. Until we get our hands on some H2 employees around here, they ain't nobody going to build it. What do we need? We need more than 20 guys to go work on a project. There aren't 20 guys on this side of the fence to go work on the project. I was looking at a piece of property as I was driving around yesterday, and they cleared it off real fast. It's the stretch of road between, it's a stretch of grass between the Shell on Route 8 and the Mobile on Route 8, the Mighty McMobile. Right. When I was a little boy, that was a place, every once in a while, they'd throw carnivals and fairs out there. Carl and I have talked about it. And so they've cleared that off, and I want to say it's going to be a grocery store. It's Island Fresh or something like that. I forget which one it is that's going to be going in there. And you'll remember that they cleared it off, and they covered up, they made the holes there for the foundation that they needed to pour in, and then nothing. Nothing. Wow. And I'm positive that they've got the financial resources to finish the job. They just don't have the guys to do it. I can give you another facility right up the street at the corner of one of the intersections up here. Cleared off the land, put up the sign, said, hey, man, we got some work that's going to be coming up here, and got it that far. And what's holding them back? They can't get their hands on a contractor that has enough people to do the kind of job that piece of property is going to get. And you might be thinking, well, there's plenty of people here on Guam that can take those jobs. We just don't have enough of them. So, Joey, I'm with you. Let's go ahead and have the serious conversation about the casinos. And there's another guy. Today's PDN. I want to say there's an editorial. Herbert or Herman? Herman D. Sablon writes, privatize economic base, legalize casino gambling. The potential here again is enormous. Ideologies and attitudes will have to change. After all, life is not static, it evolves. The combination of these approaches will bring prosperity to the islands beyond any expectations and will be the envy of all of the other island economies. We need to get butts and chairs on the airplanes that come out here, and that might be one of the ways to do it. And you want to call me a sinner because I'm advocating people gambling? Okay, fine. We've got other problems around here that we can't deal with and might not be able to unless we can give the police and the criminal investigators and the Attorney General's office the tools that they need. And we can't do it with the budgets that we have. So how about we take some of these casino monies, the taxes that might be coming out of the casinos and the gaming, and have them set up the Mandanya Task Force, make them 10 times bigger than what they are now, and have them go out there and with the sole intent of eradicating the scourge of our ICE here on Guam. How bad is it? I see another opportunity to do something that I absolutely love doing, and that is to extend kudos to the Guam Police Department, and not necessarily the Mandanya Task Force. I want to extend kudos to just a couple of beat guys, just a couple of beat cops. It was somebody in a patrol car looking at another car. Hey, those tags are expired. You know, hit the lights, make the rollers go off, and pulled him over, pulled her over. And naturally, enough suspicion, enough probable cause in the pullover to warrant a search of the vehicle. And what was found? little plastic bags, presumptively filled with crystal methamphetamine. So Jasmine got busted from the cops. Because apparently, when you're on crystal methamphetamine and you're all hyper about everything, you are not sufficiently hyper and motivated to go and Department of Revenue and Taxation and get new tags for your car. I thought that was one of the things about ICE, is it made you all hyper. I got to work. I got to get it done. I got to get this going. I got to get that going. Apparently, that's not necessarily the case. You just get high and you forget about your responsibilities, like, oh, I don't know, registering your car. So kudos to the police department and to the policemen. Pull somebody over, and there's usually enough. And the cops know. Cops know. Moving violations and moving probable cause. Every once in a while, you'll get next to one of those cars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you are one car wash away from becoming that car, just by the way. Look at you. Police are going to start looking at your car going, you know, I'm pretty sure that a crime has been committed in that car, or it's going to be committed sometime soon.
I feel like I get that look every day.
I think that you do. It's 9:50 in the morning, 9:51 in the morning. Well, I need to take a break. I want to take a break here because I want to make sure that I set up the next portion of the program. It's where we start talking about the real important information to come out of the Glock party in Tumon Bay over the weekend. And I don't know that any or enough has been made about something else that happened at the block party that has not gotten quite as much attention as something else that happened at the block party. That's ahead right here.
Hi, this is Kathy, and I'm back in Guam ready to set off the fireworks with our 4th of July sale at Furniture Kathy Style. It's packed with fabulous furniture and prices that will blow your mind. Get 15 to 25% off store-wide or 12 months interest-free with approved credit. Our beautiful lamps are buy one, get one 50% off. Save big on hot deals like our 4-piece Ashley Sleigh bedroom set, starting at just $4.99. Stop by and see us at Furniture Kathy Style in Hagåtña.
Apply today for First Hawaiian Bank's United Mileage Plus credit card, and upon approval, you will be entered to win 2 round-trip business class tickets on United. You'll also earn up to 30,000 bonus miles, 5,000 upon opening your new account, and 25,000 after spending $1,500 within 3 months. And you'll get 2 times the mileage on United ticket purchases. Apply by August 31, 2018. Stop by any branch or visit us online at FHB.com. Terms and conditions apply. Sweepstakes starts on July 1, 2018 and ends on August 31, 2018. Open to legal residents of Guam and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands aged 18 years or older. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Visit www.fhb.com/United Sweepstakes for official rules and complete details. Member FDIC.
Cousin Janet watching the program this morning. That's always nice. Hi, Margaret. Back for more. It's the Ray Gibson Show for another, 7 minutes or something like that. And this is traditionally the part of the program that I refer to as the small talk portion. There's a ton of stuff out there, but frankly, we've gone through. I think we've run the ringer through on the Glock party deal. It's now just a question of what's going to happen next. Ray Tenorio on what I'm referring to as the apology tour, and entertaining members of the media yesterday with a few minutes worth of I'm sorry and Maasi, and oh, by the way, did I say I'm sorry again? There's all of that stuff. GMH and the electrical panel saga drama. We'll see if I can get some splains on that and how to explain the difference between the Guam Power Authority's version of there's nothing wrong with this electrical panel at GMH that can't be fixed with some Windex and about $1,700 worth of dusting and cleaning and tightening and all of that. And then you've got the consultant that says, yeah, this thing is in imminent danger of failure. Which will be a nightmare for Guam Memorial Hospital and public health here on Guam. Quick, give me $6 million and I'll fix it. Somewhere in between, I think, is the correct answer. And golly, I hate to do it. My cousin Henry on Facebook this morning gave up a solution, and I hate because I want the expertise to be here. I don't want to say, and what he's suggesting is go to the States, find an electrical contractor, find somebody independent. Don't talk to your own consultant. Don't talk to your own guys at GPA. Find somebody that does this for a living, maybe travels around and investigates systems like this, and bring him out here and have him check the system. And okay, if we have to do that, then great. But how about it's 2018? And how is it? Why don't we have the expertise here? How is it that you've got one guy who's got PE at the end of his name over at the Power Authority? Right. You got him, and maybe we're not going to trust him, but the other guy is a consultant, and he wants $6 million. There's got to be a better answer than we're either going to agree or disagree, and either not spend money on it, or we're going to spend too much money on it. Because I think we bought expensive computer systems in the government of Guam from consultants as well. But I digress. I'm sorry. The most important thing to come out of the barbecue block party over the weekend in Tumon Bay was not the lieutenant governor and his current drama, but what it was the grill competition. I like to think that I know my way around a barbecue grill. My brother-in-law won't let me cook chicken or ribs anymore. It's true. It's true. I invited him. The last time I said, hey, meow. That's Chamorro for brother-in-law. Fanyao, come to my house. We're going to have a barbecue. And he says, what do you want me to cook? I said, no, you come over to the house. We're going to have a barbecue over at my house. I got the beer.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I got ribs, and I got chicken. And he says, let me help you. I said, no, just come on over and relax. We'll just, shoot the ball, breeze, whatever. And they know. And come to find out later on that he thinks that I undercooked my ribs. And as anybody knows, you want to cook your ribs thoroughly to keep out whatever rib vermin there are in there from getting into your system. And he's probably right. I'm one of those guys that can get it so that the long part of the rib is nice and cooked, and it's the right kind of chew, and then you get to the back part of it where the fat is and it meets the other bones.
Right.
Pink. Yeah, so probably not good. See, apparently he didn't like that. And I said, what about the chicken? And I'm also the guy. And I've quit cooking chicken on the barbecue grill because I can't do it right.
Yeah, it takes some talent.
It's talent and timing. I'm the guy that will make it so that you get one part of the chicken that is burnt toast black, and you cut about a millimeter in, and it's pink and running blood. And apparently you're not supposed to eat your chicken red. Anyway, so that's my thing. But I can appreciate what goes into grillmanship. And so I want to say congratulations to the team from Mescla for winning first place in the pork competition. Second place went to the Outrigger Guam Beach Resort, who are awesome people. And third place went to Guam Barbecue Company. Chicken. The first place went to GCC's Culinary Fire. Second place went to Mescla. And third place went to Guam Barbecue Company. And on the beef category, we've got Mescla, who came in first place. So that's 2 first places and a second place for Mescla. Congratulations, guys. Second place went to Ducknuss. And Ducknuss, I was explaining about how burned black toast, crunchy, crispy, like Ducknuss. That's how we like it.
Okay.
Okay, we do the same thing with rice.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's nice. You get really good Ducknuss rice, and then you put some Japanese tea in there. So good, and so good for you. And third place was Dusatani Guam Resort. So congratulations to all of these teams. And everybody got a picture with the pretty girl and somebody holding a trophy and somebody holding a prize. And then you get the picture of Ray Tenorio holding, that's either tongs or it's a schooner of beer. I think it's tongs. Anyway, so congratulations to all those guys. So if you want some great grillmanship, think about Ducknuss from PIC and the guys over at the Outrigger. And whoever it is that has been barbecuing around here, you smelled that yesterday? Where is that coming from?
That's over at GTA.
Are they barbecuing at GTA all the time?
There's a food truck, yeah.
There's a barbecue food truck over at GTA?
Oh, yeah.
think I know what I'm having for lunch. I think I might know what I'm having for my break here. It's 10 o'clock in the morning or darn close to it. Hey, thanks for playing around with me this morning. We'll do it again tomorrow. Turn it into the Friday show, and anything that we didn't get to on today's table of contents or adventures, we'll get to tomorrow. For Kevin Kerrigan, Blake Watson, Mike Knight, this is Ray Gibson from The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 FM, The Point, also known as KUSG Hagåtña. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow.
News. Day one done of the NATO summit with President Trump going after Germany, but by dinner time, tensions eased.
Connecting with the German Chancellor Angela Merkel, having conversations, smiling, seeming to put aside any differences that occurred during the day. But earlier, the president with a frontal attack on